Holy fuck, we are back.
It's been a long time.
It has been a very long time, but Brofluent is back. What is good, everybody? How are y'all doing? Uh, Last second kind of NFL draft special we're doing here. Had a big plan for it, but unfortunately things fell through.
Mhm.
So hopefully we can get those guys back. We won't spoil it for y'all, but
No,
if you know, you know. But
smart
holy
guy.
shit, how are you doing, man?
Me, I'm doing very good, Eric. I'm out here on the daily grind, and I know you're out there working a full-time job.
Look at
How's
us.
that going, my man?
Hey, I mean everything's going good, man. We have an apartment coming up in June, so hopefully we don't gotta keep migrating house to house for the process
Struggle
of
free.
this, and then we could settle down and get this back for all y'all. Hopefully, we can get everything going. Um, but
Yeah,
no, man, it's been crazy. It's been how long has it been? It's been over probably a month or two
a
now.
little over. Yeah, I'd probably say like a month, maybe a month and a half.
Month and a half. Had to take a quick break. Plus, it was getting really crazy. I mean, we talked last time. It was NFL free agency just started. Now we're talking about the
Yeah.
draft.
hmm
The NBA season was in the middle of it, so it was kind of in that awkward point where there wasn't much to
Yeah.
talk about. Fight game even picked up recently.
hmm
Was slow then, so I guess we're coming back at the right time. Really get your wits about you and get back into it. Hopefully, y'all
Yes,
ready.
sir. I'm ready to talk some shit. You feel me?
I'm ready too, bro. So let's fucking get into it.
hmm
Do we have NFL draft music? Maybe we have NFL draft music.
What is how does the intro go?
Let's see if we can find it. Hold up. If we
Like.
can get some NFL draft music, then
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, there it is.
all right. So
Dun, dun.
that's the best we got.
That's your welcome to the
That gets
2021
you
NFL.
2021 Brofluent NFL mock draft. So here's what we're gonna do.
Mhm.
Seems like we are gonna just go into it. We both have two separate mock drafts for you, but we're gonna go pick
Yeah.
by pick. Um,
hmm
we're gonna break down. We're gonna do questions off of that and really get rolling for
Yeah.
it. Just a humble way to get back. Get everybody reintroduced. The draft is on Thursday. We're shooting this on Sunday, so if anything changes, sucks for you
You can't
guys.
hold us to that. Yeah, you can't hold us to that. And me and Eric don't know each other's picks or nothing like that.
We
This is the
literally
first
have
time we know,
no
so
idea. We have done this completely
gonna be
separate
interesting.
and started doing it probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and we were like, you know what, we
Mhm.
should just get back to it. So
Yeah.
let's see how this goes. Tom, I'm gonna let you start off
All
solely
right.
because we know who's picking second. But
Yes. Good
on
decision.
the clock is the Jacksonville Jaguars with Urban
hmm
Meyer. How are we
hmm
going, man?
To start off the 2021 Brofluent draft, Eric, the Jacksonville Jaguars select no, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence?
Come on, come on. Was
Wow.
it
I didn't
Drake
expect that.
Lance? No, I'm just kidding. Trevor Lawrence, obviously, is the go-to pick. I'm 99.9% sure you have the same as me.
Yes, I do. And I think it's the only lock in the draft, really.
Mhm.
Maybe there's another one, but this one feels like 100%.
Yeah,
If
this
they
is a
threw
start.
anybody for a loop here, I don't know.
Mhm.
Would we even have? I didn't even bother putting a sleeper pick on here for like
No,
just in case. It's just no. It's gonna be Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor.
Pair him with Urban Meyer. And how do you feel about that? I think that's gonna be the first thing. How does Trevor Lawrence? How do you view him as a prospect, and how do you view him as I guess, a fit with Urban Meyer and what they do.
I think it's a perfect situation for Urban, right? You're coming into a new spot. You get the young quarterback that people have been tanking for and have been talking about since he got to college. So it's like a perfect scenario for Urban. I think it's a good scenario for Trevor as well. You're going to a team that, yeah, obviously was a bad team last year, but they have talent and they have some positional players that are good. They have talent on both sides of the ball. Not a lot. Don't have good depth, but they have
Mhm.
players at certain spots that can make plays. Now you get a coach in there, hopefully for them as an Urban Meyer, who can change the culture around and build, like a winning culture over there. And Lawrence is obviously people say he's the best prospect since Luck. I we've had some discussions. Like we think the season Burrow had at LSU was unreal, and we saw
Right.
his first year last year, and he was before he got hurt, he was amazing. He looks like a young stud. So you throw Lawrence in that discussion, that's a home run for Jacksonville.
I agree, and I like what they did in free agency too. Like, getting Marvin Jones definitely was a good add to that receiving core. Carlos Hyde reuniting with Urban Meyer is a good thing.
Yeah.
They upgraded some pieces on the defense, and they traded for Malcolm Brown out of New Orleans, and they got a linebacker from Kansas City, but we'll see. Oh, Shaquille Griffin too. That's a big pickup at the corner position. So they're becoming a well-rounded football team. And I also
Yeah.
have a good pro comparison for Trevor Lawrence for everybody. Blew up a little bit on Instagram. I
Who's
was
that?
actually shocked. I just put it in on NFL Network. They put their crazy NFL comparison for Trevor Lawrence was Justin Herbert and Joe Montana. That is the mix. And I was like, that's a little fucking bold to be throwing Joe Montana in here.
Yeah, that's a little much.
But
And can we get when we get a comparison, like why are we going so throwback?
it's not even that. It's just I feel like you just pick someone that used to wear number 16 just to make it fun. Like,
Yeah, and like he was really good, and Trevor's probably gonna be really good. So let's say Joe Montana.
yeah, sure. But for me, when I look at him, I see your boy, I see Andrew Luck, and I see Alex Smith actually. And I know some people might give me some backlash for that, but when I say Alex Smith, I'm not talking about Kansas City. I'm talking about San Francisco. People don't realize how athletic Trevor Lawrence is and how much he runs the ball. Like, he's pretty fast. He's sneaky athletic. And when we're talking about this kid, he's 6'6", 218. Like, he shouldn't be moving that fast for his size. And when you watch Alex Smith in San Francisco, part of it's because the pocket was collapsing around him. But he's also one of those first RPO quarterbacks because of Urban Meyer. So, we got to see. But how do you feel about those comparisons? Because Andrew Luck, obviously, big stout guy, doesn't make many mistakes. So,
yeah, Luck makes sense. I never thought of Alex Smith, but you make a good point. Alex Smith was athletic back in the day. He could do things just like Lawrence can. I think people forget that Alex Smith was a top overall pick
those
because he
are
didn't
two
necessarily
former
live up
number
to
one
that
picks.
at first. Yeah, and now obviously went to Kansas City. He had that one year where he was like in an MVP discussion. So he obviously had skills, and obviously then getting his job taken by Patrick Mahomes is anyone would get their job taken by Mahomes. So that's
Right.
like, and we know what Alex Smith is now. He just retired and had that amazing year last year at Washington. So I think that's a really good comparison for Lawrence. He'd be happy to hear that.
And people also need to understand with these comparisons. I threw a lot of for the future reference. We did some guys on it. I'm mixing two guys because it's always going to be a mix. You're not going to get someone 100%. Like Andrew Luck's a good comp, but Andrew Luck was like 6'3", 225. Like,
yeah, he's much broader.
Yeah, much broader. But
yeah,
I appreciate the love, man. I appreciate the
love. I like that. All right, and let's get to number 2, Eric.
Yeah,
and this is as the resident Jet fan. Go ahead, my man.
The second pick, I'm sure you have the same one. The draft is kind of starting uneventful, but the New York Jets go with Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU. This is the second guy on my big board, man. I made one, and Trevor Lawrence is one, Zach Wilson's two. I think Zach Wilson might be the most talented quarterback in the draft, but as a prospect, he's 6'2", 214 on the smaller side. I understand why people compare him to Kyler. I don't put him in that range because I think he's more of in my comparisons, I had him as a mix between Russell Wilson and Josh Allen because when Josh Allen first started, we were looking at him like we don't really know, small conference, but a crazy arm, crazy talent, crazy athletic in hindsight. So Zach Wilson fits that mold, but he's also a smaller guy, so I give him the Russell Wilson where he's making those insane throws down the field. And hey, man, I got a lot of answers to a lot of worries if you have him. So I like the pick, and I'm happy he can become our quarterback.
Yeah, I have the same pick, Zach Wilson at 2. It's a weird when it comes to him for me because we didn't know much about him. And then all of a sudden, this draft process came, and it's like he exploded.
Right.
Like people started really watching BYU film, and then we watch his pro day where he's making pretty difficult throw. What make of what you want of a pro day, but he's making really good throws at the pro day, and he just keeps rising up draft boards, and he makes it all the way up to 2. And I think it's the right pick. I think it's the right pick for the Jets. Um, I just have. Do you think? Because I don't know how you feel about all the quarterbacks like Fields or
Hmm.
Jones, but do you think he's clearly number 2, or do you think it's a discussion? Maybe you could say Fields or you could say Lance.
I think he's clearly number 2, but I think there's a gap. It's a small gap because I also like Justin Fields a lot.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is
As
Justin
well.
Fields is that dude that he has the production his junior year, and he doesn't have a really good year. I don't want to say not a really good year. He makes it to the national championship game, so I don't even want to say that. But
Right.
he has 2 games where you're looking at it and you're like, yo, this doesn't look good. And it gives you remnants of the guy we just traded in Sam Darnold, where it's like, yo, you can't throw that. This isn't college anymore. That's not going to work at the pro
Mm-hmm.
level. And I'm not one of those guys where I'm questioning Fields' ability to get off his first read. I think he does that plenty of times. I
Mm-hmm.
think he processes really quickly. I think he's a really good quarterback, and that's going to show throughout the next my evaluation when we get to that. But
Yeah.
I picked Zach Wilson because he's one of those guys where he has a crazy upside. And if you're going to get rid of a talent like Sam Darnold, this kid is the one to do it for because it's just balls to the wall on it. But it also
Yeah.
makes me nervous because of the location. Like we're talking about the first one's going to Jacksonville with Urban Meyer, legendary prospect. No one's going to blame them for that. And we know
Right.
throughout the season, I was saying I don't want the Jets to be in a situation like that where they have to take someone just because of how talented they are. And it seems like
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened. Um, and you got rid of Sam Darnold, which I have no issue with. It's the more time went on, the more it was difficult to look at it and say, you know what? Sam deserves another year, and if he plays good, he deserves to get paid. I don't know how that was going to happen, so I think just resetting it with Zach Wilson and seeing what you get out of him is the best bet.
Yeah. We both said that we were Darnold fans and we liked Darnold, but if Donald didn't have a good year, you'd have to pay him the next upcoming year. So with that in mind, it's like you might as well just restart with Wilson
Right.
and hope that is the right pick.
And like I said, there's a sleeper pick with Justin Fields. Like there's like a 0.5% chance that happens just because of
Yeah.
his size, his athleticism, his overall ability. But I just think it's unlikely. And for the people that think Zach Wilson's a 1 year wonder, go watch some of his junior year. He's actually been doing this for a minute. It's just that
He
the
went to
question is,
BYU.
yeah, he went to BYU. And when people talk about his schedule too, the Big Ten was probably the weakest Power Five
Mhm.
in this year. Like we're talking about Penn State with like 5 losses, Michigan with 4. Like
Yeah.
that we're talking about them playing a national championship game against national championship, a conference championship game against
Yeah.
Northwestern. Like, is that
I feel like that
really
that even though as like me personally, I'm like, oh, I don't want to take a guy who's from a small school doesn't play anybody. If you look, especially recently and throughout the league at the quarterbacks, Josh Allen went to Wyoming. Carson Wentz went to North Dakota State. Trey Lance goes to North Dakota State. Like it's
Lamar
not like
Jackson went to Louisville, Pat
yeah, it's not
Mahomes went to
rare. It's
Tech.
not a rare thing that a really good NFL quarterback went to a small college program and balled out there. It's not like a
Right.
rare thing.
Right. So, hey, man, it is what it is. But we'll get into the next pick. I don't want to go off too because this is really
Yeah.
where the draft starts,
Mhm.
and this is where it can get interesting. So we might have to actually argue some cases here.
Well,
But
well.
the San Francisco 49ers traded up with the
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins. They gave up a haul, and I think we're both assuming it's a quarterback here. So where are they going?
Right when you trade that amount of picks and that amount of baggage, you assume it's for a quarterback, not for any other position. So, and we've heard, oh, it's Mac Jones, or we've heard, oh, it's Trey Lance, or oh, it's Fields, or blah blah. I'm going with Justin Fields at 3. I think he's the right option too. I think when that trade first happened, we heard it's Mac Jones, or 100% on Mac Jones, and I
Right.
was like, I don't like that. not that I don't think Mac Jones can be good, but I think Fields just has a lot more potential, and I like that fit with the Niners. And I think at 3 they go with Fields because the upside with him at in a Shanahan system could be very, very good. Your upside with Jones is like maybe a slightly better Jimmy Garoppolo, like maybe more accurate, which is good. You
Right.
made it to a Super Bowl with Jimmy G. That's nothing to. But if you could get a guy like Fields who gets closer, reaches his potential, I mean that's a home run. So I'm
Right.
going Fields at 3. Are you rocking with me or no?
I actually agree. And I went through this like a million times. So I was looking, I was like, you know what? I get what they're saying about Mac Jones. If you have a great O line and great
Yeah.
weapons, the same way San Francisco does, he's not going to have to do much, and he's probably one of the most. He's probably the most accurate quarterback, uh, in this draft. Maybe not downfield. I might give that to
Yeah.
Wilson or Fields, but he like. Let's not shit on the fact that I don't think Mac Jones is a slouch, but there's a certain level of upside, and
Yeah.
when you are giving up as much as you give up, I think it has to be Justin Fields or Trey Lance just because of what they can bring you eventually. And I agree
Mhm.
with you. I'm going Fields because if you watch Fields at Ohio State, I didn't realize how much he like went with the run game, how much he depended on it.
Mhm.
And that's not a knock on him, but he did a lot of RPO. He does a lot of read option. He does a lot of sitting in the pocket and getting out right at the right time, right when he feels pressure. He's very good at that. And I think that's something that Jimmy G doesn't do very well. And I this idea that he's going to sit behind Jimmy G, I agree with that at the beginning of the season. But
Yeah.
what does Jimmy G always do?
Get hurt.
Exactly. So I think he'll be right out the door. I think it's either Fields or Lance, but I went Fields because I have Fields as my number 3 QB. I know a lot of people keep
I
having
do
him
as
at
well.
5, or some people even have him at 6. I think that's a
I
little
know.
crazy.
People. I think he has been the most scrutinized through this whole process.
And I don't think it's fair because he does get off his read well. He does throw the ball downfield well. But like I said before, his main mistakes are they're going to be rookie mistakes where you think you can do too much or you put too much pressure on you to do too much. And I don't really blame a what's it, 20-year-old kid for doing
Yeah.
that. I,
No.
I mean, look, he could get the ball out a little quicker. I do think that. I think he holds on to it a little too long, but I compare him to Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts. And these are two guys. I know Jalen's young, but it's two guys that we're already seeing success from that want to throw more than they want to run. But when they
I definitely
run,
see
they're out.
definitely see that comparison.
So I know people say Cam. I used to say Cam a lot too, but I think he throws the ball significantly better than Cam
I think he
does.
throws the ball better, and he's also Cam is like I don't know if people understand how of a freak athlete Cam Newton is.
He's significantly bigger. Cam's 6'5", 245. Justin's like
Bigger and
3.
just would run. His MVP year is running over people, running by people. Like you
Right,
don't get guys like Cam Newton athletic wise. Like Fields is not on that level of athleticism. He's close, but he's not on that level.
right. And we'll see. I think this now talking about these 3 quarterbacks because obviously we both have quarterbacks going 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Who do you think is going to be the most successful? Because I get nervous when I hear this because if the draft pans out this way,
yeah.
I think there's a strong chance Fields becomes the most successful, and I
Mm.
think there's a strong chance Zach Wilson becomes a bust because look, not, and I'm saying it as a Jets fan. I'm not saying the typical bullshit that they want to say. Oh, it's the Jets. It's the Jets. No,
Yeah,
it's the fact that Wilson's going to be asked to do
yeah,
what he was doing at BYU, coming from Utah to New York is a big thing. One of the big things that make me nervous. Going
yeah.
from Ohio State to be the backup at San Francisco to then
It's
learn that
ideal.
offense is extremely ideal. Plus, with the amount of weapons you have, you're going to be handing it off to Raheem Mostert and Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk on end arounds
You
and
had
stuff.
a really good year,
There's
and then
just
if
there's a lot to do.
why am I blanking on his name right now? Who the tight end?
Oh, George Kittle.
Yeah, if George Kittle's healthy, I mean, you have the ultimate weapon.
And Fields targets his tight ends a lot. I don't even know
Yeah.
who that tight end is at Ohio State, but he was
No,
Fields was hitting them. So
not at all. I would right. We talked about this. It's so much fit that matters, right? Like
mhm.
if you look at the 1, 2, and 3, it's Wilson is in the worst situation because he's going to be on. Maybe you could argue Jacksonville maybe is worse, but like talent wise, but he's not in the best situation. He's gonna have to do more with less. Fields is easily in the best situation. He's gonna be on a team that has talent with a great head coach that's already made it to a Super Bowl,
And no
who's gonna
pressure right
scheme
away.
things around it. Yeah, and no pressure right away. Jimmy G's gonna have the job. Jimmy G gets hurt, or Fields just outplays him. Like it's perfect for him. Perfect for him and his growth. Lawrence, I'd probably go Fields 1, perfect, Lawrence, and then Wilson at 3, like you said. It would seem like if you look at that position, Wilson would have the biggest bust potential.
Right. And another reason I say that is because I think Jacksonville might be in a worse situation, but going from BYU to New York, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's the like let's not lie. You're from Jersey. I'm from New York, man. We're looking at it like they're not going to be nice to him. He starts fucking up.
You come in, if he's coming in, he's soft or something at first. It's like, man, we wasted number 2 overall pick again. Like, goddamn.
Right. So we'll see, man. And
Yeah.
then
All
people
right.
would talk about the losing and shit like that, but it is
Mhm.
what it is.
Let's get to number 4. This should be interesting here because I don't know if you're going the same way I am. We have the Atlanta Falcons, who it hasn't been, people speculate they need a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Team. Matt Ryan's only got 2 years left. He's old. So they could
35.
go quarterback. They need defense. Their defense is horrible. They have weapons, but there's a guy named Kyle Pitts who's a freak. Where are you going here for?
I thought about this hard. This was originally what took forever with this mock because I understand the thinking of the Falcons only have one QB on their roster right now. It is
Mm-hmm.
Matt Ryan. They did not make
Yep.
a move to get anybody else. They didn't go to get a young Dwayne Haskins. They haven't called about bringing Gardner Minshew to be a backup or anything like that. They
Boy.
haven't done anything.
Yep.
So I understand why they could go Trey Lance. Plus, you're also not expecting to be there anymore. I'm not trying to be in the top 5 ever again. I don't want this opportunity.
Yeah.
But I went with Kyle Pitts
Oh my
because
goodness, so did I.
I did it because not
I think
only
you
is
have
this kid an amazing talent,
to. Mm-hmm.
you might be able to extend the life of Matt Ryan. You get this kid.
You might. Yes, that's a good point.
And the other thing with Trey Lance is to spoil it. Trey Lance is like my 5th best quarterback on my board.
Mm-hmm.
I think he runs a lot, and the O line, Atlanta's on their guys now, so you can't even look at Sewell and be like, hey, like you completely drafted this O line. If you're taking a tackle like him, you're giving up on one of those guys, and I don't see that happening either. So, yeah, man, I just went with Pitts because he's the most talented guy on the board, and none of the defensive players really can hold water up here in
Yeah.
my eyes. So
Well,
it's either bring him back or
I hate to,
take
I
Kyle.
hate to agree with you again, but I have Kyle Pitts because everything you said, and they're tied into that contract for 2 years from Ryan. So drafting a quarterback is just, it's tough to have another, if you're going to have another quarterback playing over Matt Ryan and Matt Ryan just sitting there on your bench with $100 and something million worth of money. It's like,
Right.
you can't have that. And adding Pitts to Calvin Ridley, and if Julio can stay healthy, I mean, that's dynamic. Their defense obviously is still where the struggle is, but you can't pass up on a guy who he may the best tight end we've seen in a couple of years, probably coming out of a draft.
Couple years. This might be the best tight end we've ever seen. We're talking about a tight end getting picked in the top 5. Like
Yeah. I
my
mean,
comparison for him, man,
basically,
is,
he's like a hybrid. He might not even be tight end. He might not be a receiver. He could do any. He could do any of it.
and that's why I compare him to 2 guys that were hybrids, man. Number 1 is Darren Waller. That's
Yep.
the easy one,
Waller.
obviously.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people seeing that. I don't think he's as fast as Waller, and I think he's more physical.
Mm-hmm.
But he can improve blocking wise. He doesn't really do that. That's not really a part of his game. But another one, man, people might hate it, people might love it. Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp's the
Really?
first wide receiver to move to tight end, really in that sense. And Kyle Pitts just when you watch him, you're like, oh, he's not really breaking anyone down with his routes. He's not being that physical. He's not doing it. But I'm looking, I'm like, but he's catching like 2 touchdowns every game. When he the only time he doesn't, I think he has one game where he doesn't really produce, and it's because he got smacked and knocked out at halftime.
Right.
So
Can't really blame him for that.
he can get bigger. Like let's not lie. He can get bigger. He's not a Shannon Sharp size, but Shannon Sharp and Darren Waller's body makes a lot more sense to me. So
All right, good. So we're 4 for 4 here, Seek.
I know, really unexpected, man. That's actually
Moving on
crazy.
to 5,
Who you
and
got, man?
Cincinnati Bengals on the clock. I think it's so obvious the position that needs to be picked. It's just if what guy do you want? At 5, I'm going with the guy I think is clearly the best offensive tackle, and that's Penei Sewell.
I
I
agree.
mean,
I
he
went the same
from
way.
what we've seen, he dominates people, and for people I don't know, Seek really gets into watching film. He's almost like he's half a scout when
I've
he
been a
comes to the
junkie,
college
man.
stuff.
I have been a
So
junkie with this
when
draft.
Steve talks about Sewell, he's like, bro, he can move all around, do a million different things. And I already had Sewell as the best offensive lineman, but I heard the talk of, oh, Slater could do some things. But once I heard you saying, bro, it don't matter where you put Sewell, he's still the best. I think that's clearly the pick at 5 to protect Joe Burrow.
And it really doesn't matter. Like, when I was first listening, I was like, all right, let's just watch the tape, see what he does. I'm like, all right, he's big, he moves very well. Then towards the end of the film, I'm watching his whole, like, every game he played in 2019. I'm watching front to back, whole fucking game.
Yeah.
I think he missed one block the entire season. And there was a play, I don't remember against who because it was a while ago. They called a screen pass for him. That's how athletic he is. He caught a
Yeah, it
screen
just shows
pass
you.
and he planted his foot and dropped boy and kept running. Like, he's probably the most athletic O lineman we've seen in a while. My two
Do you think he could have instant impact like Quentin Nelson? Obviously, you don't want to say
Yes.
Quentin Nelson. He's amazing.
Oh no,
I mean,
Quentin Nelson's on this list for my comparisons. I did Taylor
really?
Lewan and Quentin Nelson because I originally thought Zach Martin because
Mm-hmm.
Zach Martin played tackle a little bit,
Right.
but the way he's in the running game is just how Quentin Nelson that rookie year was just running over people and screaming
Yeah.
and doing all that
Yeah.
crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I put Taylor Lewan there because it came up. I was like, I don't really watch linemen to the point where I'm critiquing them like this. So I got to look up a little, like what do people think he looks like, and then I'll watch that guy. So I watched Lewan, and there's one thing they have in common. Lewan's a lot bigger, but they're both really athletic. And when Lewan gets hit by a D lineman, he doesn't move, and neither does Sewell. That first
Right.
one, he doesn't move. It's like he just comes up standing, and if you're gonna beat him, you really have to just out athlete him to the left or to the outside or to the inside. And Sewell's one of those guys, but like I said, man, he was a left guard. He was recruited as a left guard at high school. Then he played left tackle. And there were points that Oregon, if they wanted to run to the other side of the field, they would move him to right tackle, run behind him, and get a touchdown. So
Kid's a
I
beast.
he's my number 3 prospect overall, man. Like,
He's
I
fantastic.
argued, I almost put him ahead of Wilson, but quarterback to left tackle, like that's one of those things. So yeah,
So
man, I had him at
5
3.
here, guy.
Yeah, and you know what? The idea of getting a weapon, obviously, I think a sleeper pick here is Jamar Chase, but
Let's make the right pick. What's
let's
more important, a tackle or a wide receiver?
if Joe Burrow goes down again, your franchise hopes flashes before your eyes again, and it's basically over. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to get another chance to get a quarterback like that, and then you got to hope the next kid's as good as him because you got him fucked up. Like,
Which ain't gonna happen.
yeah. So hopefully they make the right decision and go with the O line here. Now we're going to the 5th spot.
6th spot.
The 6th spot. I apologize. We're going to the 6th spot with an interesting pick. Team that
Yeah.
traded back and then traded up again. With the Miami Dolphins. With the Miami Dolphins, and they can really go anywhere. They can even trade back again, is the rumor. So where did you go?
Oh, and just to clear, just if they thought we're not doing trades in this draft.
No, we're not.
So don't expect us to be like the Patriots trading up to the 6th. Well, we know this is a possibility, and we know that can happen. But for mock drafts, we're not doing any trades,
right?
Because you can't predict that. So Dolphins, assuming they stay put at 6, they really can go many different ways. I think they're like, we got to. I think they were interested in Kyle Pitts. If they're like, we could put Pitts out there, which is Sicky, that'd have been a little combo. But
I
think they go the best wide receiver, and that's Jamar Chase. I love Devontae Smith. He was the Heisman winner. But when you look at Chase and the measurables, it's like he looks like he's built for the NFL.
I
And
agree.
what we've seen from Smith, I know everyone's making a big deal of the weight. He's a skinny guy, but I mean, he's amazing. But when you look at Chase, it's just like he has the total package, was just as dominant as Smith was just the year before.
Right.
Uh, I think it's you team him up with Tua, and you're like, Tua, we're not giving you any excuses to be bad. If you're our franchise quarterback, you're gonna have to show it soon because we're putting weapons around you. We're gonna try to protect you a little better this year. And our defense was great last year, so you just gotta show it. You gotta show out.
I agree. I went with Jamar Chase too. 6 for 6, a hell of a start.
That's I mean, two
But
smart guys. What do you expect?
I know, right? Um, but I was torn on this one a lot because I think the best fit would be Kyle Pitts, but obviously he's not on the board. Um, I don't think there's a huge gap between the top three receivers. I knew I was pumping my fist earlier for Jamar Chase at 2.
Yeah,
When the draft first originally came out, and or even Devontae Smith or somebody, just get the Jets a weapon. But then we signed Corey Davis and traded Sam Darnold, so we had to get a quarterback.
yeah.
But I think Jamar Chase has the most upside. I compare him actually to, I don't want to say the most upside. These three guys are close. I picked Jamar Chase because he's the safest pick. I don't know if he can coexist with Devontae Parker, but Devontae Parker gets hurt a lot, so maybe that won't be an issue. Obviously, they signed Will Fuller, so there's the speed, but
That's a
he
deep part. Yeah.
also gets hurt a lot. Then you're talking about Preston Williams, where I like him, but guess
He's a
what?
young player.
He's been hurt his first 2 years.
Yeah.
So you got to see, and Tua wants to throw a guy open, so I just went with the best route runner, in my opinion. I compare him to Amari Cooper and Stephon Diggs.
Ooh, I like the Cooper one.
I think he's a physical freak, and I can't ignore it.
Yeah.
But my sleeper pick here is actually Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle has amazing speed, really next level talent, and could really be electric depending on what you want to do. If you want to throw him in the slot and throw Will Fuller on the outside and let him go deep, it's got to be a weapon here.
I got a thing for you here. Waddle and obviously Devontae Smith played in Alabama together, and Smith is obviously the number one option. And when you look at Waddle, he's built more for the NFL, and he's just bigger and stronger. But it's obvious that Smith is, if we're looking skill wise, the better wide receiver. So it's weird to be like, oh, I think Waddle's better than Smith, and they were on the same team, right? And Smith was clearly the number one option, the best receiver in the country. But when it comes to this, it's like, oh, we're going to take Waddle over Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying you're wrong or right, because you'll see later that I have Waddle being taken before Devontae Smith. But it's just funny how they're on the same team, and one guy is clearly like the number one guy, and he's the guy that's going to be drafted after the other guy.
Here's my thing. I don't even want to say Devontae was clearly number one, because when the season first started, what Jalen Waddle was doing was insane. Like, it was literally what Devontae Smith was doing, just in a completely different way.
Yeah.
Then around games 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4, Waddle started to slow down and Smith started to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so different, and one's built for the NFL today.
Yeah.
And one's kind of like something we haven't seen. We don't really know what he is. We haven't. Let's talk about it. Like, we have 2 receivers. I know one is like going to be way later in the draft, but we've all heard about Tutu Atwell from Louisville, 5'9", 149 pounds, and then we're talking about another receiver that's 6 foot 6'1", 166 pounds.
Who won the Heisman?
It sounds like these guys should break the first time they meet Khalil Mack or even Darius Leonard down the middle of the field. Like,
yeah, it's definitely crazy.
They bring a different type of game. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't want to sleep on Waddle, and I don't want to downplay Devontae either. So I just have them all 1A, 1B, 1C.
All right, let's go to 7. The Detroit Lions. They're in such a weird spot. They traded for Goff, so it's mostly it's not a quarterback direction. It's just they need a lot of help. New head coach, and Dan Campbell, who's the tough and rough guy.
I love Campbell, man. That's my guy.
Yeah, me too. And he was a huge factor in my pick. Not even the fact that they traded for Jared Goff. The fact that Dan Campbell is their head coach is a reason I picked the guy at 7. I want to know who you picked first, though, because I don't think this is going to be the same guy for us.
I think this is where we're gonna go off just based
Yeah.
off what you said last time because I went Devontae Smith here.
Mhm.
Um, I did it because first off, it's mainly because of the comparison because I also like Jalen Waddle here. I also put him as a sleeper pick here, but Devontae Smith reminds me of two people, and one is actually Robert Woods, who Goff played well with. A lot of Devontae's actions are screens, end arounds, stuff out of the backfield, stuff to get him in space and open more than he's running routes. And that's similar to what Robert Woods does in LA. Another one is someone that people keep bringing up, and I didn't believe it until I turned on the tape, but Marvin Harrison was 6'1", 176, doing what he was doing.
It
So
was
I'm not
amazing.
sure if he was 6'1". He might have been 6 foot or under 6 foot, 5'11". But
Right.
with upside like that, I think Dan Campbell came into my mind too, and I was like, you know what, this kid's a competitor, and I
Mhm.
can't end up taking the kid that might not be as good, his ceiling might not be as high in Jalen Waddle to be a number one when this guy does basically the same things, and he's going to help my QB the same ways Jalen Waddle does. So I might as well just go for the one with more production.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm thinking between because I'm going. They obviously need a receiver. They lost Galladay, lost Marvin Jones. They obviously need a receiver. But Dan Campbell's coming in. He wants that tough team. He wants defense. He wants I'm gonna hit you in your mouth. And that's the way we're gonna play football. So I'm going to the defensive side of the ball with the best defense player in the draft, and that's Micah Parsons. They need help everywhere. He's the best defensive player. I see the Smith one, and I'm like, Smith would fit perfect. How are you going to ignore a Heisman winning wide receiver? But when you think of Dan Campbell, you don't think of a 170-pound wide receiver fitting his kind of thing, right? Because he
Right.
wants big, physical, and that's why I'm going defense. Michael Parsons.
Hey man, I actually like that because if they trade back, I'd expect them to get a guy like Michael Parsons. Just because let's talk about Detroit right now. They're in a
Mm-hmm.
position where they need everything. You just said they lost Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones. They have TJ Hawkinson at tight end. Their O line's kind of in shambles. They have Jared Goff and their defense kind of got ripped apart too. Like I can't name a linebacker they have right now. I think they have Jamie Collins. That's it.
Yeah, and he's older. It's like they need something. I think Parsons has been known as the best defense player in the draft. You just start there.
That's fair. All right, I don't have a problem with that one. But now the next one, we're going into a weird territory. Team that just traded for
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, Carolina Panthers, a team that we thought was going to be in the running for a quarterback, which low key still can, but
Well, some people are predicting that, but I'm going different than that though.
so how are you going, man? Which way are you going for
I
Carolina?
think if you just made the trade for Sam. Uh, he's going to be your quarterback. You have McCaffrey, you have Robbie Anderson. Let's protect the guy, and let's see if he can really be our quarterback. And let's take Rashawn Slater from Northwestern. I think he's clearly the second
Mm-hmm.
best lineman after Sewell. I think it fits nice with him. You just traded for your quarterback. You have Christian McCaffrey. You want the run game. Let's just get a dominant offensive tackle.
I went the same way. I went with Slater. I have a sleeper pick here though. Don't be shocked if Patrick Surtain goes here because yes, they signed AJ Bouye, and yes, they have Dante Jackson, I believe. But their secondary room isn't the best. I thought about Micah Parsons here, but I think they can survive with the linebackers and the safeties they have because of
We
Jeremy
got
Chin.
we have who Brian Burns, right?
They have Brian Birds on the edge, and they have Shaq Thompson in the middle, I
Yeah,
believe.
not bad, not bad.
But I went O line like you because I looked at their O line. I was like, hey, you just franchise tag Tyler Morton. Maybe you don't really need one. You got Matt Paradis in center. But I looked at left tackle and I went, ooh, Greg Little. Greg Little's been
Yeah,
we've been waiting for him to grow for I think my whole high school and college career. I've been waiting for Greg Little to become the league. So, so
not hit.
I'm not sure how long he's been in the league, but I think replacing him with Rashawn Slater would be smart. But I'm actually wary of this pick. I think Slater has a lot of bust potential. I don't see the Zach Martin. I actually see two people that everybody might not know,
You have
but
name some.
I see Andre Dillard, the
Mhm.
Eagles one that they picked that keeps getting hurt, left tackle, who's supposed to replace Jason Peters. He's good in pass protection, but he can't get beat to the middle. and I see Billy Turner on the Packers,
Oh
the
yeah,
the right tackle that can also play guard. I think Slater can also be that, where it's like, dude, you're athletic, but I I don't know how long this is gonna last, because I turned on the tape and I was like, all right, Northwestern 2020 had a good season. This kid had to go off. Oh, he didn't play in 2020. He played in 2019. And I'm looking and I'm like,
well, his claim to fame, right, is when they played Ohio State, and it was like he had a good game against
yes.
Chase Young.
He had a
That's like
very good game against Chase Young, and I saw that game. He didn't go up against them as much as I assumed. I thought he was on Chase Young the whole game. Just
everyone always talks. Oh, he was doing his thing against Chase Young. Until they always say.
And he was, but there's a few times he got bailed out where he got beat to the middle or he got beat here. And he also, this is a big warning, big thing for tackles. I think he holds a little too much. And I think it might get called in the NFL. Now, I could be completely wrong and the kid's nice and disgusting, or they move him to guard and that changes it. But I don't know if he's a franchise guy. And I think we got to see. This is a kid coming out of Northwestern that the team, and I hate to be that guy, but we're talking about a team that performed significantly better without you out there, and you're a lineman. So we know when you miss a big time lineman like that, you're usually worse.
Yeah, no doubt.
So how were you that much better? You went from 2-8 to what? They had one loss before the championship game.
Yeah, I see some bust potential out of him. I also think he can be good though, because you can move him around in different spots, which is nice.
Definitely versatile. I agree with that.
All right, let's go to this one, man. I mean, I couldn't make a decision when it comes to this pick. Number 9, we have the Denver Broncos. And I know most people are thinking quarterback, but they for some reason, they like, not that they before the year they really liked Drew Lock.
A little too much.
They're like, and he's not that good, but they still are attached to him a little bit. So I was like going back and forth whether I should go quarterback or a different position. It was so hard. I really had to make 2 different ones where I picked one, a non-quarterback, and one a quarterback. But I'm going to go with the one with the quarterback, and I'm going to go Trey Lance.
Trey Lance here.
Trey Lance, and I think Elway. Normally, we know his struggles with picking quarterbacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
He normally picks that pocket passing, Brock Osweiler, accurate, like, you know what I mean? That kind of, and Mac Jones fits that mold, kind of, not mobile but accurate. I think it's like, bro, that's not worked in a while for us. Let's get a guy who can be dynamic. We'll let Drew start the year. Let's see what Trey does in the preseason. Let's see what he's like in practice. Maybe halfway through the year he takes over. Or maybe it's Drew has a bad year and they just let Lance sit and he'll come in next year. But I'm a big fan of Trey Lance, dude. I think he's going to be, if the Broncos do the right thing for him, I think he's going to be a very special quarterback as long as Elway and those guys don't screw him up.
I also went quarterback.
You went Mac Jones?
I went with Mac Jones. And the reason was I don't see Trey Lance going here. I don't think that'd be a smart pick because Trey Lance might come in there and either he's not going to outplay Drew Lock, and then you're going to panic and you're going to be like, oh my God, this kid's not ready to beat this guy. How do you know if he's even going to be ready next year? Or he's going to beat Drew Lock and throw him into the Wolves, and you're going to have to completely change your offense. Like, and you just let Philip Lindsay go. I see Trey Lance as more of a runner than a thrower. I'm sorry. I know people might disagree with that. I know he's got a deep ball, but I can't get off a guy that has multiple games with under 10 passes or under 15 passes and in the FCS and tell me he's this dominant quarterback. I just don't see it. I think he can be good. He still has crazy upside. Like, I still see that. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if he completely proves me wrong, but I'd go Mac Jones here because when you look at Denver, their O-line's not great, but they have guys that should perform. Garrett Bowles had a good year. Lloyd Cushenberry's going to be a year older. What's the other guy? Glasgow's over there. I think they had Juwan James. Either he was out or there was an issue with him. So I think the O-line's good enough. Look at the receiving core. Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler. We have weapons. Melvin Gordon in the backfield, Royce Freeman. I know he hasn't been what we thought he was, but he's still solid. You look at the
Yeah, it's
defense.
fine.
You could improve the defense, but you just signed Kendall Fuller, you just signed Ronald Darby, so I don't see a corner going here. You kept Justin Simmons and you kept Kareem Jackson, so secondary's on lock. And D-line can improve and linebacker can improve, but those are things I can get later in the draft, so I might as well go Mac Jones. And I like Mac Jones, and I compare him to someone that you're very familiar with.
Oh God, are you gonna say Phil Rivers?
Yes, I think he reminds me a lot of Phillip Rivers and Kirk Cousins. I looked at the Chad Pennington thing, like just being a Jets fan. Like I get it. I think he looks bigger than he actually is. Like I thought Mac Jones was like 6'5" for a second. He's only like 6'3". But he has good footwork in the pocket. He can roll out. It's like if you had a car that could only shift to second gear. Like you're gonna peel out. You're gonna peel out still. But all of a sudden you're gonna start slowing down and everyone's gonna start going by you. So I think he can get out there, but he's really accurate. He's really good. I think he's got high IQ. He picks up things quick from what I'm hearing. And I'd take him because I think he can take the job from Drew Lock.
I was just going to ask, you think he takes the job from Drew Lock year one?
I think he can, but I think there's less of a panic if he doesn't. Because I think he has a low floor. A high floor where it's like, you can, if we put this stuff around you, you should be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
we both went quarterback, just in different directions.
Understandable though. You went with the high end guy. That's fine.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Like, at some point, like Denver's got to get it right at quarterback.
Yeah, Denver has to figure it out, and you can't. And I think that's another reason I went there because you can't look in the second round and be like, "Hey, look, Kellen Mond," and I think Kellen Mond can be really good, but
I agree.
I like not there, not now.
I made my first draft. I'm like, I think I picked a linebacker, and I'm like, but if Drew's so bad again, like it's just gonna be miserable for Denver.
And they're gonna be in this same position where they're picking around 9 or 10.
Yeah. All right, let's go to number 10. This is a pretty easy pick from me.
The Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys obviously have no problems on offense. Dallas Cowboys obviously don't have any problems on offense. Defense is their issue. Corner is a big issue. Yeah. So let's go get the best corner in the draft. He's a stud athlete, man, and that's Patrick Surtain from Alabama, and that's a home run for them. It's exactly what they need, and he's the best corner in the draft.
This pick makes me a little wary. All right.
Ooh, really?
Because it is so simple, but it is Jerry Jones.
This is true.
I'm praying to God they don't pick a quarterback. Like I'm praying to God. Like it's an ounce of me is sitting there. Like if Trey Lance is on the board at 10, do they just say, "Fuck it"?
That is a Jerry Jones thing right there. If Trey Lance, like if in your draft, Trey Lance is sitting there, and he's like, "Yo, let's go get him."
Yeah.
Like could you imagine?
Oh. I could see it, and it makes me so nervous. But I agree with you. I go with Patrick Surtain too, and it's because there's connections. I'm saying I won't be surprised if J.C. Horn goes here. I almost put Devontae Smith here if he was still on the board because the NFC East has this thing where they don't like their other teams to get good players. So that's another reason I think Surtain's here. I don't want the Cowboys to sit there and go, "Oh, well, the Eagles took Surtain at 12, and now we have to see him all the time." To me, he's more of a zone corner, and he's got great size. He's 6'2", 208.
Yeah, and he's diesel.
That is nice. But at first, like the film was underwhelming. I'm watching Alabama. I'm like, where's Patrick Surtain? Like, what's he doing? But then something occurred to me. It's called. I'm not comparing him to this guy at all. He doesn't play like him. But it's something called the Darrelle Revis effect.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm wondering why I don't see you, it's because they're not throwing to you.
They're not targeting you, and that means you're doing your job.
Exactly. So it's actually more of the Richard Sherman effect because he's playing zone coverage, but it is what it is.
Right. All right. Good.
But my comps for him, this is the last one I had a comp for. The next one I kind of have a comp for too. But I think he's a mix of Nnamdi Asomugha. I read that one, then I watched Asomugha, and I was like, ooh,
Remember
that's a
how
pretty
good
good.
Nabi was for those couple of years?
He was, and he was playing mostly zone too, and he got exposed when he got thrown in man, which is what makes me
Yeah.
nervous with Patrick. But
I
he
mean,
also
wasn't
reminds me of
Nabi in
AJ
Madden?
Bouye.
Was Nabi a 99 in Madden? I think he was like 1
He
year.
might have been. I remember the year they wanted to pair him up with Revis, and I was
Or
getting
he might be
hyped.
like 98 or something, but he was right there, man. Yeah.
He was. He was.
What did you say the other one was? Oh, AJ Bouye.
AJ Bouye, because that's a zone guy. It's gonna make a long career. Sertain doesn't get a lot of interceptions, but I think he'll be able to hold it down. I think he'll be good. So put him back with Trayvon Diggs and go
Oh,
from
yeah.
there.
I mean, listen, I think this draft's going pretty well.
I agree.
Let's look.
Next,
Yeah.
this is another big one. This is another big one. The New York Giants at 11. Where are we going with this? Because there's a lot. There's a quarterback question. What's
There's,
Daniel Jones really?
right. This
There's
one
a,
is interesting. Yes, we got Kenny Galladay, but do we throw another weapon out there? Just saying, Daniel Jones, you got to make it happen.
right.
Because on my board, you still got Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle sitting there. And if you're the Giants, can you pass that up when you have Daniel Jones and you're trying to see if he's your quarterback? I think the signing of Kenny Galladay kind of doesn't put a halt to it, but it doesn't make it as necessary. So I went with the linebacker, and his name is hard to say, so I'm going to butcher it. But Wusu Koromoa.
Oh, Jeremiah from Notre Dame. Jeremiah Osu Camaroa. Yep.
Linebacker. I went to Evan Hole at linebacker. Their defense is solid, but they need a back linebacker. So I went with him.
You know what? We really think the same sometimes, bro.
No.
I didn't go with Jeremiah. No. I didn't go linebacker actually either. But that was my big debate. Do I go with what I go with, or do I go linebacker? I still have Micah Parsons on the board. Remember that? But I looked at the roster, and yeah, they do have a hole at linebacker. But there's a player that I have ranked 8th, just behind Devontae Smith, and that is Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle comes off the board here to the Giants.
Loaded up for Danny Dimes, huh?
Loading it up for Danny Dimes. And it's only because I looked at the receivers too, and I was like, Kenny Galladay, he gets hurt sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Is Sterling Shepard really worth keeping around? Because he gets hurt too.
He's decent, but he's not, you're not, I don't think you're dying to keep him,
So then I'm dependent on Darius Slay. Not Darius Slay. Isn't it Darius Slay?
No, yeah. Darius Slay.
Darius Slay is the corner on the Eagles.
There's the corner who was on the Lions, right?
Who the hell's the receiver? It's Darius Slayton. Isn't it Darius Slayton?
Oh, yeah. Slayton.
Yeah, I'm a Jets fan, dude. Ignore what I think about the Giants players. But
they have Evan Ingram.
They have Evan Ingram, and their next one is John Ross. So I was like, you know what? Throw Jalen Waddle in there. Let Slayton and Shepard battle for who deserves to be on the field, and let John Ross just be a kick returner or something. And then I'm more confident in the weapons with Saquon, and we'll see where it goes. And Jalen Waddle, this is my last. No, there's one more with Trey Lance. I keep saying that. This is my last one, but it's not really my last one. He reminds me a lot of Deshaun Jackson. I know a lot of people are saying Tyreek Hill, and I see that, but Deshaun Jackson's also like 5'10", and Deshaun was a little skinnier, but Jalen Waddle returns kicks, does all this. I think you can get a linebacker in the second round. That's just one of my things. And I know people say you can get a receiver, but how do we hold Jalen Waddle, and how do we hold Rondell Moore?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's similar, but it's not. So
I was debating between those two positions, and I just went with linebacker but I could see them going receiver. Just saying, Danny Dimes, you better fucking show out, or this is the last year our starting quarterback.
And they can also trade back too. I think that's coming out that Gettleman's thinking about that, so I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, that's not bad. How weird is it that it goes 10, 11, 12, all NFC East?
I know, right? Well, that's the Eagles' fault because they traded back, and we're on them now.
Right.
Which, let's talk about that for a second. If you're the Eagles, right? So you still have both receivers on the board.
Mm-hmm.
You have Waddle and Smith there. I have no receivers. In my world, they're gone. So
the Eagles missed out.
They missed out, and you're also talking about double dipping at receiver. So what do you have them doing here? I feel like you have a receiver there, so I'm assuming that's where you're going. So Do you think they would have made out as a winner then of the trade, trading all the way back and recouping some stuff?
Uh, no, I
Because
think
now
they
they
would.
also have an early second round pick too.
I think for you, they're missing out because they clearly need a receiver. And now I want to make this clear when I make this pick. If I was the Philadelphia Eagles, I would be taking Devontae Smith. I don't think they'll take Smith, and I think they'll take Jalen Waddle.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were them, I would take the Heisman guy. But I have them going Waddle. They have such a need for receiver. If Jalen Hurts is really your guy, even though they're trying to make that the most difficult thing possible for him, you got to give him weapons, give him a chance to show out, and Waddle does that. Wait, did Waddle and him play on the same team?
Him and Hurts. I think so. Waddle's a junior, so he would have been a freshman when Hurts was there.
Yeah, maybe on the field, maybe, but
I think so. 2018,
I think
right?
he gets reunite with his old teammate, maybe. So Waddle and Hurts going out there in Philly.
I like that. I did that a few times when I had Waddle still on the board. But what did Nick Sirianni just come out and say? He plays rock paper scissors with a bunch of competitors. That's what he's doing.
We play rock paper scissors. I was like, bruh.
Are you starting to come around on this guy being a fucking clown? Like I
No.
really, I really don't think he's got it.
I tried to defend you when you had your horrible press conference saying you were nervous. And I know people do weird shit at these interviews, but rock paper scissors for competitive, like I could just picture myself. I was in the room like, all right, yeah, okay. Like, and he beats me. Like, what am I supposed to like freak out to show you I'm competitive? I'm like, ah, shit. Like that's like
I'd be like, what are we doing?
oh, you beat me, Nick. I don't, coach. I don't know what we're doing here. He's a character, dude. Listen, we haven't got a chance to see him as a coach, so I don't want
Right.
to say he's a total fuck, but he has some weird strategies. I'll say.
Weird tendencies. But
Yeah.
I went with JC Horn because he's a competitor. The corner out of South Carolina. Um, I wouldn't be shocked if Waddle went here. If he's still on the board, I wouldn't be shocked if Surtain went here if he's still on the board. And I think the Eagles are going to actually end up making out fine because I think one of those guys are bound to be there between Smith, Waddle, Surtain, and Horn. I
Mhm.
don't think there's any way all four of them are gone, and I think they all fit the need they need at skill positions. Their corners outside of Darius Lay are doo doo. It's just, and I don't want to say doo doo. Like the guys are okay. They're just not. It's not enough to help Darius, in my opinion. JC Horn's a lockdown guy. I like him. He's in my top 15. So, um,
Mhm.
I think it's a good fit, and hopefully they could turn it around there. But
Listen, if obviously we're differing here because I have receivers, but if I wasn't going receivers, that's a need they need. So that's a good pick.
I agree. I agree.
This next one, oh, was tough. It was tough for me for this one. Oh,
You can go a bunch of ways here too, to be honest. But with the Chargers,
the Chargers is tough because Herbert obviously had an amazing year last year. They need another lineman, and that's where I wanted to go because
mm-hmm.
it makes sense to protect Herbert. He has weapons. He has Mike Williams. Keenan Allen's still there, I think, right?
Yeah,
I don't
Keenan
know.
Allen's still there. Yep.
Allen's still. I don't know what his contract's like. Um, but can you pass up on a chance to get Devontae Smith if you're the Chargers?
Ooh.
If you want to pair Devontae Smith with your rookie of the year, Justin Herbert, or do you want to go offensive tackle? And this is what made me pick Devontae Smith at 13
Mm-hmm.
is that the best two tackles in Sewell and Slater are gone, and I believe the third tackle I have it on there is like Christian Darrisaw, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Out of Virginia Tech.
Even though it's a need for them, his rating doesn't match to what Devontae Smith's is as a wide receiver. Like, Devontae Smith's a 97 wide receiver, Darrisaw's an 80 lineman, so
Right.
you got to go a guy with the high potential there. And so I got Smith going there with Herbert.
I went lineman.
That could be a nasty combo.
It could be. I believe it. I went with a lineman though.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go Darisaw though. I went with Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
I thought. See, I wasn't even thinking about weapon here. To me, it came down of what do I have to do more? Protect Justin Herbert or replace Melvin Ingram because I believe Melvin Ingram is not there anymore, the edge
Mhm.
player across from Joey Bosa. So they definitely need another edge player. But I looked at it and I said, can I get another edge player in the second round or can I get another tackle in the second round? I don't put it past them trading up for Penei Sewell too. If the Bengals don't take him, I think that'd
Yeah,
be fucking amazing if they could do that.
fantastic.
But I took Jenkins because he's first team All Big 12 last year, and he's 6'6", 320. I didn't get to watch too much tape on him,
That's
but
Oklahoma State, right? That's where he went.
Oklahoma State, yeah.
He's
So
huge.
I didn't get to watch much tape on him, but just off the size, I'm not a big fan of Darrisaw. No disrespect, but I see a lot of missed blocks. I see a lot of putting guys into holes. And I'm not just talking about his senior year, because the senior year he has actually a phenomenal tape. It's more of his years before that. I'm seeing him push guys into holes. I'm seeing guys get around him. I don't think Tevin's the most athletic guy, but I think I might as well just put a big
Yeah,
brawler on the opposite side just to keep it safe.
I hear you there. I hear you. I was picking here. If you're me and Smith is on the board, are you still going O line, or do you have to just jump on the chance to get Devontae?
I'd probably let Devontae keep falling. Because we just saw it. Number one priority is keeping Justin Herbert alive here, and
Mhm.
he was running a lot too, but he was running a lot making plays. So we
Yeah.
act like the Chargers don't need one. The way if I'm in Chargers, I'm trading up for Sewell. I'm calling Atlanta right away actually, and that's the first thing on my list. I'm calling Atlanta and seeing how much I can do to get what I can do to get up there, and then really fuck up everybody's draft.
Yeah, if that happened, that would be a shocker. People would be like, "God damn."
But next we have but we're at 14 right now. And we're with Minnesota Vikings. They had the rookie of the year last year. They had Justin Jefferson.
Mhm.
I know Justin Herbert was technically, but Justin Jefferson was in
Yeah, yeah.
a Pro
Uh,
Bowler. So let's
Um,
talk about that part.
they they have multiple needs. Um, their defense wasn't good last year, and normally when the Minnesota Vikings are known for a stout defense, last year I don't think they had a good defense. They're limited with Kirk, and it's obviously all built around Dalvin Cook. So I think we need a lineman. Dalvin Cook is what we build around. I got Christian Darrisaw, a guy I just brought up last, going here to Minnesota.
I agree. I took Darisaw here too. Um, I'm actually wouldn't be surprised if the kid from Michigan, Kawiti Pay, is here.
What
Um,
about right?
because they need an edge player across from Danielle Hunter.
Mhm.
But you lost Riley. Well, I mean, you gave up Riley Reef, if we're going to be honest. There's still a few tackles on the market, but I'd probably lean toward just taking Darisaw and seeing what he's got. Because maybe I'm wrong. I just thought Tevin was safer. And if Darisaw, I just think is a better fit for Minnesota, where you're going to put him in a situation where he has to start, but he's got some guys around him that could, pick him up. Like Brian O'Neill, I'm pretty sure is a solid right tackle. So you could probably move him around and do stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
Now,
Ooh,
a big one.
juicy pick, juicy.
We
And
both had some guys fall here too, so let's see where you're going, man. Because I mean, the New England Patriots. Let's talk about what they did in the offseason first, because obviously, since we didn't
now,
address free agency for many people, they went out and spent it all. Where are they going?
do you mean where are they going in general?
Um, I mean, what is your synopsis of what the New England Patriots are doing? Is it win now time? Is it we had all this money, it was time to spend it, let's get players, because they did get players,
Our players,
but
don't they?
some might, like, let's talk about receiver. Like they went and got receivers, but Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne aren't really, it's not
Not top end.
Julio Jones and guys like that. They kept
Uh,
the running backs.
yeah, it's tough. They're still in this phase. I feel like where they have to become in my opinion, a totally different team than they used to be. Obviously, with Brady, they were this same team for 20 years. Now they're in this phase where this is going to be the second year without the GOAT at your helm. You got to transition to find out what team you're going to be. Are you going to be a ground and pound team? Are you going to be a defensive first team? I feel like they still don't know where they're at. And I like that you predicted right that they bring Cam back. I didn't think they would. So they're obviously still going for this, like, I'm assuming run heavy type of offense. And maybe let's try to play better defense this year because Dante Hightower will be back. We have a little bit more pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. And when you look at the roster, they don't have a quarterback for the future, at least. They just have Cam. They're in a weird spot.
What happened to Stiddy?
Jared Stidham?
Yeah, that's the future, bro.
I don't think that's gonna go anywhere. Bill's never taken a quarterback in the first round. Now he's had Tom, so he hasn't needed to. I think this is the first time he does, and I still have Mac Jones on my board. So New England gets Mac Jones. It almost seems like that's perfect for Bill because it's not that he's Tom Brady, but immobile, accurate pocket pass quarterback. That's
right.
Mac Jones.
I agree with you.
I agree. He probably won't play unless Cam plays as bad as he did last year. Mm-hmm. He probably won't play that much. Maybe he'll come halfway through the year, 75% through the year. But he could sit a year and let the Cam experiment go off again and then be ready to play next year.
I agree with you, but I don't. It's a weird situation. I do think this is a quarterback. I do think it's the one I have falling. I am taking Trey Lance. But I think if Mac Jones was here, I think they wouldn't take a quarterback because I don't think they want to transition back to that. I think this new system seems to be speed. When you talk about Kendrick Bourne and Nelson Aguilar. And that. We're talking about how much they spent money. They rebuilt their whole line and they rebuilt their whole defense. Realistically, they don't need a corner. People are putting Micah Parsons here, and I still have Micah Parsons falling, and I wouldn't be shocked if he went here. Yeah. Micah Parsons has not come off the board yet, and he is my top-rated defensive player. It's just there's so many. Where is he gonna fit? Like, let's go through where we went through. I put a receiver in Detroit, and then Carolina went tackle. Broncos go quarterback. After that, Cowboys, Giants, you have an argument. I could have put him there. Philly, I guess you could have put him there too. Chargers, Vikings, and now we're on the Patriots. It's just someone's going to have to fall, and I think it's going to have to be Micah. But with what's going on here, I went Trey Lance because this is probably the actual last pro comp, right? This is the last one I've watched enough tape on. Trey Lance reminds me of Colin Kaepernick, and he also reminds me of Marcus Mariota. He is a run-first guy with an arm.
Right.
Might be a little inconsistent when it comes to accuracy, but we're talking about two guys that had major upside. One that led a team to a Super Bowl, and one that, while he got replaced, was going to the playoffs and is still coveted till this day. So I see him as that, and learning from a guy like Cam Newton, that's going to be perfect because he's got the size of a guy like Cam Newton. Like, we're talking about two guys that were relatively skinny with Cap and Mariota, but Trey Lance, I think he's got potential, and I think going under Bill Belichick would be perfect for him. Being with Josh McDaniels would be perfect for him. So I think they go there because it's really all in Cam's hands, and they've done everything they can to bolster their holes. So might as well draft for the future.
Yeah, when I made a couple other ones, I did have Trey Lance going there. Like if I had Mac actually still falling, but the Trey Lance makes sense, especially with Cam Newton as a starting quarterback now.
Yeah. Well, I agree. It should be future time there, and but I think it's time we take a quick break with 15 picks in the books, 17 to go, and we could probably rattle off the next 17 a little quicker. So
we're not out with these guys.
All right. Well, enjoy this quick message from the usual, even if you forgot who the usual is, and we'll be right back.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Brendan Murphy, host of the Murphy's Law podcast. Every Tuesday and Friday, I bring you the latest news and notes from around the world of sports. We mostly cover baseball, football, and golf, and I bring in a lot of different guests to help me break down the biggest news of the week. If you're enjoying Brofluent, be sure to come and check out Murphy's Law every Tuesday and Friday, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you get your podcast. I hope to see you there, and enjoy the rest of this episode of Brofluent.
All right, welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that quick message per usual. Shout out Murphy's Law. I'm pretty sure they've been on a break too, similar to us. So go check them out when you get a chance. Per usual, it's in the middle of baseball season, so they are in full swing. No pun intended. And obviously that's not our forte here.
Wow.
But the Mets are good. Yankees suck, from what I'm hearing.
We don't need to talk about it.
All right, now we don't. I got to deal with all my teams are being ass, but now we don't need to talk about it. All right. All right. So now we're gonna speed through a little quicker on these. At 16, let's do 5. Let's do our next 5 then to make it a little quicker. So maybe we can catch up on some basketball and stuff like that.
All right, sounds good.
So the next 5,
right.
That's 16. We'll just do 16 to 20. I think that's 5 anyway.
Right,
I have the Cardinals taking Caleb Farley, corner from Virginia Tech. The Raiders stop the free fall of Micah Parsons, take him at 17. Jalen Phillips, the edge out of Miami, I have going 18 to the Dolphins. Jeremiah Owusu, Camaroa, linebacker out of Notre Dame, to the Washington football team. How are you feeling about those 5?
I like what you're saying. The Micah Parsons fall is deep, man. But I mean, fantastic for the Raiders to get him. That's a steal at that point in the draft. I think we have some similar positions that I took. At 16 for the Cardinals, I took J.C. Horn. That's a need for them corner. You took Caleb Farley, right? So just
Right.
another corner.
Just because Horn's not on the board. Obviously, Farley has the back issues that people are worried about, but the kid's a beast.
Yeah, no doubt. At 17, I have a lineman for the Raiders. Obviously, with Mike Parsons, they need an offensive lineman. Tevin Jenkins, the guy you already have taken. Seems like a good fit for them.
Very good fit.
At 18 for the Dolphins, we went offense with them. Let's go the other side of the ball, and let's go Kwity Paye, an edge rusher. I believe they lost. Who they lose in free agency?
Kyle Van Noy, Shaq
Kyle
Lawson.
Shaq Lawson. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So kind of replace those guys with him, hopefully. Washington football team at 19. I had a tough time with this one. Wasn't sure where I'd go. I ended up going with offensive tackle. Tough name. Elijah Vera Tucker from USC. It just seemed like a good fit. Their defense was great last year. Let's protect Fitzmagic. Maybe he could sling that thing around this year. And also, he got in our run game with who was our runner? Gibson, a rookie last year.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson.
Gibson. So that's a nice fit for them. I was thinking about adding another weapon there, but they should be okay with Terry.
And Curtis Samuel now, too. We got Curtis Samuel.
All right. Good point. And then at 20, the Chicago Bears, I went with the corner you already had taken. That's Caleb Farley.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even say the Bears. I had Elijah Vera Tucker there. So
okay.
I'm going to Chicago.
We just swapped right there. Caleb Farley at 20 for me. Like everything, great corner. Just got to be healthy, hopefully.
Yeah, man. I do have some sleepers here, though. I like the Kwity Paye to Miami. I went Jalen Phillips just because I think he has a higher ceiling. I think Kwity Paye can be nice, but I don't know. Yeah. I think that's more of evening out what you got with Shaq Lawson, and there's no problem with that. Kid's a beast.
Yeah. No.
Also, for the Raiders, obviously, I have Micah Parsons falling. If he doesn't, the interior D lineman from Alabama, Christian Barmore. People are saying that he should be up. I have him high on my board, but it seems like there's not really a lot of fits in the draft.
Well, I agree with that. I feel like he is better than where he's going to be drafted just because that's just the way it's going to happen.
Right. And I think he is on the smaller end height-wise, but he looks – obviously, it's a loose comparison. I haven't paid attention to him too much. But he's got kind of like that Vince Wilfork size where he's like a little smaller but a little heavy set and can still move.
Big dude, yeah.
I do like him there too. And also with the Bears, I wouldn't be shocked if Rashad Bateman ended up here. I know neither of us put him there, but they're talking about getting rid of Anthony Miller.
Mm-hmm.
They have Allen Robinson, who's clearly unhappy. So
Right.
why not take a receiver here? I think Rashad Bateman or Terrence Marshall Jr. would be probably a good fit if they want to make that move.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I was thinking about Bateman for them when I was doing this mock.
All right, man. So who do you have from 21 to 25?
Well, 21 is my Indianapolis Colts. And the guy that we were just talking about who's better than he should be, where he's going to be drafted, and that's Christian Barmore from Alabama. Give us another D tackle. I mean, that seems like a real nice fit for my up-and-coming Indianapolis Colts team. At 22, Tennessee Titans, bad defense last year. They got to sharpen back end. They picked Greg Newsome the second, the corner. I think it's a good fit for them. At 23, your New York Jets. I had a couple different options here, but I was like, you know what? We just picked Zach Wilson. Let's go get Landon Dickerson, the center.
Oh, I like that.
Like that?
I like that. I didn't even think of him.
I think, or maybe I forget where he's from. What college is he from?
He's from Bama. He's the one. Remember, he was doing backflips behind Mac Jones to prove his knees okay.
I was at Creed Humphreys, Oklahoma. I have him on a couple picks, but yeah. So I have him protecting Zach Wilson for y'all. I feel like that was a nice pairing right there.
That's a good one.
And then I'll stop at 24 and let you go. The Steelers, the retirement of Pouncey, the guy I just brought up, Creed Humphrey comes in and takes his place. The center from Oklahoma.
You are loving the O-linemen here.
Oh, O-linemen are so valuable.
They are. And speaking of that, for 21, I have, you might not know the name, but I think he'd be a great fit. Liam Eichenberg, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. He's not high on a lot of boards, but I think he's got good size, and I think Ian Book wasn't running for his life, and the Notre Dame connection to Indy has seemed to work a lot, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go that route.
And we do tackle too.
Right, and I think you could also, if Vera Tucker's here or maybe Aziz Ojulari to be an edge rusher for you guys, could be a good one. But I like Barmore to replace Danico Autry, basically. Titans, I want Rashad Bateman. I think they do need defensive help, but you lost Corey Davis and you basically lost the rest of that receiving core. So
Bateman makes sense.
You should give if you're gonna shit on Ryan Tannehill, you might as well give him something to work with.
Right.
What was that?
Where does your New York Jets go here?
Jets. I have Greg Newsome going here. We do still need corner help. It's not it's not great.
That's a good pick.
It's not great. I like the Landon Dickerson a lot better. That might make me a little happier. But Newsome's good, and pairing him with Bryce Hall and Bashawn Austin should be beneficial. Pittsburgh Steelers. You talked about Marquise Pouncey. I'm going to talk about James Conner going to Arizona. Yeah. I think Najee Harris should go here. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded back too, but Najee Harris or maybe a linebacker to replace Bud Dupree. So that's where I'm going. And Najee Harris, I know people are going to hate it. It's not flashy. It's not good, but I see Chris Carson. I see another Chris Carson. It might put the expectations a little low, but he's got some potential, man. So I think Najee would be a good fit here. And then we didn't say 25, but I'll do it.
Go ahead. You can go.
I was torn here because it's Jacksonville. And like you just did with the Jets, you want to go protect your quarterback. So I was thinking about Alex Leatherwood, or they keep mocking this safety out of Northwestern, Morig, or however you say his name. I didn't watch much of him. But I put Kadarius Toney here.
Okay.
Just add another receiver to Laviska and them over there.
Not mad at that at all. Let's see here. At 25 for Jaguars, I had another tough name, Aziz Ojulari.
Yep, edge rusher. That's surprising, though. I think the Jaguars have a lot of edge rushers right now. Josh Allen.
I think I was just looking through, and it was like Ojulari is like it's hard. It's tough to say. At 20, and this 25 to 30, even 20 to 30, I feel like ratings for guys are so close.
Right.
Like you could have a who rating say is a 4, and then another guy's at 3.8. Like you can swap so many guys. So I think I just went with him because he was a higher rated guy.
That's fair.
Yeah. At 26, another tough name. Oh, geez. Cleveland Browns, Levi Anu Onwuzurike.
I don't even know who that is.
And I'm forgetting who he is, and I put him in my mock draft. But
Well,
I got
Levi
him.
must be getting to it.
Levi must be getting to it, huh? I think, is he an offensive tackle? I'm going to tell you right now. I don't want to disrespect this guy. I have it right here. Levi Onwuzurike.
I think, can I buy a consonant? I think we have enough vowels.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on.
Levi, O-U-O-U-O-U-U-O.
On the, let's see what he is right here. Levi. He's from Washington. He is 6'2", 290. And his name's like, that's hilarious.
A little short, fat guy going in here.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from him. 27. This is a nice fit for me. And that's Kadarius Toney to the Ravens.
You
Team
like that fit?
I do. You give Lamar another option. Now I know, of course, it's not based on a pass. So I was thinking about a lineman, but give him another weapon. Toney has real good potential. You already have him taken, right?
Yeah, I have him going to Jacksonville.
I think he could be a pretty good receiver. I think that's a nice fit for Baltimore.
See, I actually have Toney lower on like my receivers list, but I just thought I keep hearing that Jacksonville might want a receiver, and I was like, yeah, well, the other guy I have doesn't really fit, so you might as well go Toney. And I have no problem with it. It's really 1 in 15. You can pick whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
But I don't know about, because that was my hesitant on Baltimore. If I didn't have the guy that I had fall, I think there's too many little receivers. Like Miles Boykin's not dominant. Hollywood Brown's short, and Darius Toney's like 5'10".
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, they need a big physical receiver, but Toney just seemed like the fit at that point in the draft. I'll go to 28, and then I'll let you go. The Saints, obviously a crazy offseason for them. They need another weapon. I'm going Rashad Bateman for Jameis or Taysom Hill, whatever the hell they're rocking out that quarterback. Give them another option out there.
Wow, I did not have them going offense at all at any point.
Go ahead. What do you got?
So at 26, Cleveland Browns, I have Kwity Paye ending his fall too. Another edge rusher. Just think I know you just got Jadeveon Clowney, but depth might as well. Yeah. With the Baltimore Ravens, most underrated receiver in the draft, Terrence Marshall Jr. out of LSU. I think he's going to be a stud, and I think he'd fit perfectly in Baltimore. Let him be that guy behind Sammy Watkins. He could start off as being a fourth receiver for all I give a fuck, but I think he is a lot more impressive than people give him credit for, because if you watch that junior year, because I'm watching a lot of Jamar Chase film, right? I'm watching basically LSU's whole 2019 run. Terrence Marshall is getting in the end zone every game just as much. And then senior year, you don't have a good quarterback, so I don't blame the numbers. But I think he's got a lot of talent. And then for the Saints, I have Christian Barmore ending his fall here, because you lost Sheldon Rankins to the Jets. You traded Malcolm Brown. Someone's got to play that inside lineman. So you might as well just go with Christian Barmore since he's available.
There you go. Yeah, Christian Barmore. That's very good.
Those are 3 guys falling. I have a lot of defensive guys falling because it's just the fits go kind of cold, and I think the offensive talent in this draft is at a different level.
I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. All right, so we got 29 through 32, right?
Yes, sir. Packers, Bills, Ravens, and Bucks.
On the defending champ Bucks. All right, I'll start off for y'all. At 29, the Green Bay Packers take Jason Owa from Penn State. I feel like this is a guy, too, that we just said. I think he's really talented. So to get a guy at 29 with that much talent is good for the Packers. And we know they need help in that position. At 30, I think a guy you already have taken the Bills get Jalen Phillips just another edge rusher, help out there in Buffalo. Who do they got there now? Milano, or he's a linebacker,
Matt
right?
Milano's a linebacker. They have Trent Murphy.
That seems like a need for them.
Hey, Jerry Hughes. Can't forget Jerry Hughes.
Yeah. All right. Baltimore again, right here at 31. I believe this is offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood.
I almost had him going here. He's one of my sleepers on that.
Yeah, when I wanted, you could really almost flop them with that 27 and 31. Doesn't really matter who you go with there.
Honestly.
And then at 32, Tampa Bay. I don't really know where they're gonna go, but I'm going edge rusher from Miami, Greg Russo.
Oh, the one, yes. I actually big thing about Gregory. I think it might be Rousseau. I'm not sure. Apologize for however we're pronouncing it. He was originally supposed to be like a top 10 guy, and I had him in the second round.
That's why I'm picking him at 32. If he can reach that potential or show what he can do for Tampa Bay, that's a home run.
I believe that. Now what I have going on here, I have Zaven Collins, linebacker out of Tulsa, going to Green Bay. Pretty good. Not an edge guy. I think Zadarius Smith and Preston Brown can still hold it down, but the middle of those middle linebackers are trash. And trash to NFL standards. Obviously, I'm not picking it up and doing that shit. So, we're gonna keep moving on that. So, but Zaven Collins should be a good fit there. For the Bills, I have Jason Oweya. I mean, what can we say about this guy? He ran a 4.3 as an edge player. Like, that's insane. So I just got the Bills just going balls to the wall, taking this kid.
Yep.
Baltimore got to replace Matthew Judon. Some guy you had taken a lot earlier, but I have Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia going to Baltimore here in a really good fit. And I know Tampa can go edge, but I think they're going to hold out again. I think that linebacking core isn't a need, and I think they're about to let Antonio Brown go. So I have Rondell Moore out of Purdue going here to just make it a little more interesting on the offensive end, and then they'll address edge when they can later.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. Tampa can do whatever they want, really.
They really can. Like, they can go O-line, they can go interior O-line because it's getting old. They can go running back if they want. But notable guys. I'm trying to think of some notable guys that weren't said. Neither of us said Travis Etienne.
No.
I think
backs taken.
You had none. That's a big thing. So you're really devaluing the running back, or you just don't think anyone's going to do it?
I'm never a fan of taking a running back at one, but I'm not. I shouldn't say I'm against. Like, if there's a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, right? I'm not mad at taking him in the top 5. I just don't think there's. I think Najee Harris can be good. I don't think there's a running back of that caliber. So I think if you wait, you could probably get an ETN. You're probably not going to get a Harris early in the second round. He'll probably go late first round. But you can get a guy in the second or third round that has skills.
That's fair, because the main reason I took Najee is because Pittsburgh's the only team I see with a glaring hole.
Yeah, they have they need a running back.
I think right now it's Benny Snell, and no disrespect to him, but if Pittsburgh's going to succeed, we saw last year they need to run the ball. So why not give it to Najee? I'm not against them going O-line either if they have someone available, or even trading back because they're going to take a running back and no one else is going to take one.
Yeah, that'd be a smart idea.
Yeah, but hopefully ETN can end up on the Jets anyway. And Javonte Williams too out of UNC looks pretty good.
I was thinking about Najee to you guys at 23.
I know people are thinking about that, but I mean, with Tevin Coleman there, I know we want to run the ball.
I was like, I don't necessarily need him.
Yeah, I think they'd address defense or O-line like we did before then. Because think about it, you have the second pick in the second round. If anything, they trade in, they get another late first, get a late first, 3 firsts, and do it that way.
That'd be smart.
What else? Anybody else we're missing? I'm trying to think. We already talked about Russo or Rousseau.
When do you think Kyle Trask will be taken?
Kyle Trask, day 2, day 3. I don't know if I didn't get to watch the Stanford QB yet, but I definitely have him behind Kellen Mond. For QBs, I'm probably going Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Mack, Trey, Gap, Kellen, and then Trask or this Mills kid that they're talking about. And they're saying he might be a first-round pick, this kid. So how are we feeling about that? Because he's giving me a lot of Ryan Finley vibes before I even touch the tape. So
Ryan Finley, yeah.
Ryan Finley. I mean, look, like I said, I haven't watched any tape yet, so take that with a grain of salt. But it seems unnecessary. Why? Like, what made this kid better than Kellen Mond all of a sudden? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think Mond is better. I agree with your ranking because I'd flip Lance and Jones. So I'd have Lawrence, Wilson, Fields,
Lance,
Jones, Mond, and Trask.
That's fair. I like that because it's not like Trask won't succeed, and Mond is just one of those guys where he throws the ball really good, and I would love to see him in Pittsburgh. Actually, if Pittsburgh can find a way to get him, that'd be a good fit. But then think about it: what are you ignoring to take a QB in the second or third round? Like you got to be ignoring something. And is it really win now time if you're doing that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But hey, man, this is fun. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Coming back with that. Let's talk a little basketball right now because a lot's been going on. We even talk a little fight. Like I have no problem talking about Jake. I'm gonna give you some credit. You backtracked in the end, and I wish you didn't. But when the fight first came out, you told me Jake Paul was gonna fuck up Ben Askren.
Okay, yeah. Here, I'll break it down for you real quick what I thought. All right. So, obviously, Jake Paul knocked the fuck out of Ben Askren, obviously. But when the fight was first made, I'm like, Jake is smart. He knows he wants to fight somebody who's not a boxer. And Ben is an Olympic wrestler. He never strikes, ever. If you throw a strike, he's coming at your legs and he's taking you down.
Just look at his stance.
Look at his stance. Look at his body. It's none of that. None of the striking is natural to him. So obviously, I was like, Jake Paul's going to knock him out. But Jake Paul's not a real boxer. So then I'm thinking, Ben has been in a ring. He's been in an octagon. He knows what that environment's like. If this fight goes past 2 rounds, Jake's not conditioned like Ben is. He's not going to – even though Ben's fat, Ben's been in 25-minute wars. Like,
right.
We know bodies can be deceiving. But I think it was very clear that Ben definitely didn't take this fully seriously. Like, his body was worse than it ever was. And let's also he's a retired fighter. He doesn't fight anymore. And my guy just got a hip replacement. Like, he's not – it's not like Jake was like, yo, you're a top 10 fighter in the lightweight division. Get over here. Let's box. There's a retired guy. And smart by him because he knows that people are going to be like, oh, shit, you just beat an MMA fighter. And he's making money doing it. But I did think Askren was going to win once I really started thinking about it. But then if you think about it the other way, he doesn't box. Obviously, he's going to fucking lose if he doesn't box.
Right. I made my decision off your prior information. And I ran my mouth a little bit like I know more about fighting than some people now. Because Tom's been talking to me about it for a year. So now I know everything. I'm an expert. No. The way I looked at it was originally it slipped my mind. I was like, Tom says it's going to be easy. It's going to be made more of a big deal than it actually is just because Ben Askren doesn't box. So I watched some Ben Askren because when I listen to someone's word for it, I got to see for my own eyes. And yeah, no, this guy was a professional at getting his head beat in and still winning fights. He's good, definitely great on the ground. Like you said, world championship wrestler. But I didn't see it. It didn't really gather my attention. Then all of a sudden someone hit me up and said, yo, we watching the fight tonight. I said, what? They said, Jake Paul versus Ben Askren. I said, oh, yeah, no, I'll come over and watch it. We're streaming it, right? I'm not paying for that shit.
No, I didn't pay you. I'm not
so, whatever y'all think about that. Well, I wasn't the one streaming it. I was just there at the event. So,
right. Same with me.
But then I saw the, whatchamacallit, the weigh-in and everything. Askren push him in the face and all that shit. I was like, Ben's not taking this seriously at all. He's not. He's going to end up on his ass because of it. Because unpopular opinion, I think it's fair to say that Jake Paul is an amateur boxer now. He's not a professional because he hasn't fought a professional boxer yet. but
Great point.
he's making professional boxing money
Mm-hmm.
as a boxer. He is a boxer now. Let's be honest. He's 3-0. He's knocked out 2 people. I think it's time for him to fight a boxer. Heard he called
Which
out
he's not.
Cormier or Usman or something like that.
He's okay.
Relax.
Yeah. Listen, Jake Paul he's a troll, right? That's his goal.
And I don't hate it. Respect. Hate the player, not hate the game, not the player, man.
My bank account looked like Jake Paul's bank account. And that's why he trolls, and that's why he does
He's got a
this.
fucking robot. Like, where did you get that?
Troller and then getting people to get hype and get mad. But at some point you really gotta watch, I think, in a fight, and this is a fight game, so like you gotta watch who you're running your mouth to. He calls out DC. He says, I'll beat your fat ass up. Now let's look at this. Look at this. DC is a now retired, overweight, not fat though, but overweight fighter. He will get in that boxing ring tomorrow and rip Jake Paul's head off if Jake Paul were ever to take that fight. But Jake Paul will never step in the ring with a guy who fought at heavyweight.
I also think a lot of people are blowing some things out of proportion. Like, if you heard, all right, obviously the word rigged has come up a lot. And I know why it's coming up. You and me have talked about this with them holding Askren back while he's standing up. I looked at it as a different way.
Wasn't rigged.
Askren being 40 plus years old and him moving like that, there was probably something in there like, hey, don't let me fucking die if he rocks me in 2 seconds, all right? Just get me home to my family. And that's why he was smiling, because his bank account is going to say 500 fucking G's.
Yeah.
And he gets to walk home with minimal brain damage. So that's the first part about it. When it comes to fighting another guy, I'd actually want Jake Paul to fight Dennis. What's his name? The McGregor's guy that he keeps talking shit to.
Dylan Dennis.
Dylan Dennis, yes.
Yeah.
Because
do you know anything about Dylan Dennis, Zeke?
About who?
Dylan Dennis.
I want to see it because I think Dylan Dennis is a real fighter. I think training real fighters puts you in a realm where you know a lot of shit. And I think there's been enough like bad blood there where that could be the guy to take Jake off and it actually be a fair fight that I'm willing to watch. Now,
let me tell you something about Dylan Dennis, Zeke. It's not the same as Ben Askren, but Dylan Dennis is a world champion jiu-jitsu guy, meaning he'll rip your arm off, he'll rip your leg off, he'll choke you unconscious if you were to ever grapple.
And he'll kick you in the face, but
doesn't strike either. Now he's better than Ben Askren, so I think that's actually kind of a fair fight, Jake and Dylan Dennis. Like, I don't know who would win. I don't really know how good Dylan is at striking, but if he wanted to rip his arm off, he would rip, like, if they were to ever meet each other somewhere that wasn't in a boxing ring, right, Dylan Dennis would rip his head off of his body.
And also the safe option, too, is just fight a boxer we don't know.
He'll lose, Zeke. He'll lose.
No, and I believe he will. I'm just saying that if you fight a low-end professional boxer, you might have a better chance than going up against a McGregor or Cormier, anyone like that, just for the sake of, guess what? Conor went how many rounds with Floyd? Even though Floyd probably brought it a little longer than it needed to be.
For a couple. But he still went 10 rounds with the greatest boxer of all time.
Exactly. And your brother's about to get rocked by Floyd because he got knocked out.
For however long Floyd wants that fight to last.
So it's I don't
insane.
know. It's weird. It's sad where boxing's going to now, but that's where it is.
Entertaining.
It is. And in other fight news, can't go without bringing it up. What the fuck happened to Chris Weidman's leg last night?
Wow. Last night's card was straight up madness, bro.
All over the place.
Oh, the first fight, Jimmy Crute gets kicked behind the knee and it tears his ACL and he can't walk and the fight ends. So that's how the card started. Right before the Chris Weidman fight where he breaks his leg, this guy tears his ACL, goes to the The round ends though, but he's wobbling to the corner, goes to get up and tells the ref I'm fine, and he stumbles and falls, and the ref's like, no, fight's over. Next fight, Chris Weidman kicks him, breaks his leg, fight's over.
And that, like,
That hell
people
is
bring
going.
up Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva's leg at least broke over to the point where it like wrapped around the other dude's leg, and he clearly caught him in the wrong spot. I think Weidman caught him in the right spot, but when he stepped back and it folded, I think there's got to be a lot of nerve damage for putting all your pressure on a broken leg like that.
That was the bad part. Like, you see his legs already like looking like a flipper, and then he goes to step on that. It's like if you were all in, like, you might have been a little better. The fact you went to step on a bone that's snapped in half, like, bro, I can't imagine that. That's really horrible. Like,
and Rogan's reaction was fair.
Yeah,
he was losing his shit. And Masvidal too. Masvidal going to sleep like that.
Oh, I thought the fight was going two ways. I said Usman's going to win by decision, like the first fight. He's going to grapple him, he'll strike with him a little bit, he'll wrestle him, he'll win by decision, just points. Masvidal has a chance of knockout, but it's slim, so Usman's probably going to win. Never did I think Kamaru was going to knock Usman. I mean, Masvidal was out. Like, my man caught that right, full swing, bro. It was just.
You heard they said he turned Masvidal into the Drake Sprite commercial? Like, that's really what happened. And
it was like fucking 20 feet outside. Bro, that knockout was vicious, man. And to see Masvidal laying on the ground unconscious, it was like when we saw Conor get knocked out by Poirier and he's out. It's like, damn, I never thought I'd see that guy be unconscious. Like, maybe he'll lose by decision, but I never thought he'd be out cold.
I think we're getting a point to like
it's incredible.
Like a new wave of guys, because I think people are going to start watching the Sugar Show. I think that's going to be much watched TV very soon.
It already is.
This Conor Poirier third, I don't really want to. I'm not too excited for it. It's just if Conor's going to extend his career or not, in my opinion. And Masvidal is already an older fighter, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's been around the way. He just got his chance.
Yeah,
I think his window's done now.
He'll go Diaz and he'll do that BMF thing again, but that'll be about it.
Yeah, but it's not what it used to be. We were talking about Jorge, like he would remember. What were we calling him? Something Jesus.
Street Jesus.
Street Jesus. My bad.
That's his nickname.
Street Jesus. Yeah, that
because he used to find the backyard.
Well, let's see if he could rise in 3 days after that one, because was that was crazy. But
Kamaru was a different level.
I believe it.
That guy's a freak.
He put him to sleep crazy. And I think just before we get out of here, touch on some NBA stuff. You nervous about AD coming back the way he is? Because I'm not just saying this as a Nets fan. If I was a Laker fan, I am not confident playing him right now.
Obviously, he hasn't looked good in his 2 games back. But I'm not worried. I'm not. I think once everybody is back, we're going to start seeing AD be back to himself. Once he's sharing the floor with LeBron, sharing the floor with Drummond, I think we'll see this team start gelling together. And I don't know if he's going to play as well as he did last year, where people were like, he's arguably the second best player in the world behind LeBron. We know he wasn't the second, but he was right there. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he'll reach that again like he was, but he'll be back to playing Anthony Davis style basketball. Hopefully, if he can stay healthy. But they do need to play some games together, I think, to get that, see how it looks out there with LeBron, Drummond, and AD on the floor at the same time.
I agree with that. I'd just be nervous if I'm a Lakers fan, because I know a lot of people don't agree, but I think the Clippers have been pretty healthy this year. Obviously, you have the big question mark of what Paul George is in the playoffs, but I think they could sneak someone. The Nuggets losing Jamal Murray's big, takes them out of the equation in my eyes. Obviously, good thing Donovan Mitchell's coming back for Utah. How serious is Phoenix? and then we'll see who else ends up in there. But I think the Lakers might need to watch out before the Clippers sneak them if they can make it. If they can make it to seeing them, obviously.
Mhm.
And similar things in the East. As a Brooklyn fan, I hope we can end the season with these guys playing together, because it always, if it's not one thing, it's another. If it like it's always something coming up. Happy KD's playing again. Before he makes me nervous. But I'm nervous about the Heat a little bit if everyone's not healthy. This James Harden extended injury makes me nervous. And I mean, let's be honest, it works well for your bench. Like, your bench gets some big time minutes, but I don't know. I'm just nervous. And obviously, shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge on a great career.
Yeah, fantastic career. I mean, was one of the best power forwards at one time.
100%. And now everyone can stop bitching that we're unfair.
You're not unfair, but you're the favorites.
Yo, can we get a poll going? I want everybody to. We're gonna get it on the Brofluent Pod account. What is more clear, that I don't want my team to be the favorite, or that Tom doesn't want the defending champs to be the favorite?
No, it's so.
I'm starting to realize you really don't think a team that just won a championship and added an all-star should be a favorite, because a bunch of guys that didn't play last year.
Other team has 2 top 5 players and then a third superstar, and the other team does not have that.
The one team does have 2 top 5 players, just maybe not a third superstar.
Yeah, and then one team does.
Okay.
So that probably makes you better, you know?
The Clippers have that. They have 2 top players, not top 5, but they have 2 top players.
And not top 5.
Well,
just admit you don't want the pressure. Just admit it.
It's nothing about pressure. It's just, I don't think we should be looked at as the favorites. I think we should be looked at as the favorites in the East.
All I know is
you supposedly have the best player in the world.
They do.
In the best duo in the world, with another all-star and probably the deepest team in the league, I was told.
Oh my God, bro. You sound like you want to make excuses for your team, dog.
It's not excuses. I have this weird feeling that neither of us are going to end up in the finals.
Really how I feel is I think Brooklyn, I'm obviously not rooting for this, but I feel like they're just going to have 2 guys, and like I feel like one guy's going to be hurt come a playoff series or something.
That's what's making me nervous. I don't want to hear that. I'm also nervous we're going to force Spencer Dinwiddie into playing when he shouldn't be. I don't think I actually, no disrespect to LaMarcus Aldridge, shout out to his career. Hopefully he's happy, healthy, and gets to do everything with his family. I think that opened up the big spot a little more while he was playing good, to the point where I can actually have an idea of who's going to play.
Yeah.
Instead of just this mismatch of talent in the middle. Blake's playing okay. I'd like to see a little more. Landry Shamit's picked it up. Nick Claxton needs to hit a weight room. DJ needs to do more than catch lobs, in my opinion, but that's really what he does, so I can't bitch. And Landry picked it up, so Landry Shamit's doing a good job. We're actually a pretty deep team. I think we should win the championship. But
that's all I'm saying.
We should with everyone healthy, but I'm saying with everyone not healthy and a first-year coach, and you guys are defending champions doing the same exact thing.
Well, the Lakers will 100% lose if AD is not playing the way AD can play.
Do we think AD and Drummond will coexist well? Because I'm not sure about that. And you also have a mismatch of bigs that we don't know what's going on. Montrezl and AD. Marcus Gasol and AD, Marcus Gasol and Drummond, Marcus Gasol and like.
When you look at their games, you wouldn't necessarily think it's a perfect match, but that's where the king comes in, you know? That's where the King James comes in, and he's like, "This is how we're going to run this damn ship, and this is how it's going to lead us to victory." And that's what will happen if everyone is fully healthy.
You better put someone on KD and James Harden if they're playing, because KCP and fucking Dennis Schroeder ain't going to do it.
Dennis on Kyrie, strap. I'm putting KCP on
on the
James.
bench.
James Strapping. I'm putting Bronny on KD. I'm putting I'm putting AD on KD. I'm putting Drummond just down low. LeBron can guard Joe Harris or something, or Bruce Brown or some bullshit like that.
Joe Harris. You're
Uh,
gonna put Bron. You're gonna waste Bron's defensive potential on Joe Harris. All right, it's okay.
we need LeBron for offense.
He's
So
gonna
we need,
run. He's gonna run Bron off them. Bron's gonna stop chasing him. Bron's not gonna do that. When Joe
yeah,
starts running around them fucking screens,
Bruce Brown. I'll cover Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown's not starting.
Yeah, he'll be in the game at some point. That's what LeBron's going
You
to
have
do.
us running KD at the 5 right now. What about Blake?
LeBron can cover Blake.
Bron can cover Blake. Okay, that's fine. But
And
then
the starting
KD.
you put LeBron on KD.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what y'all doing. I don't know. I also want to talk about MVP stuff before we get out of here. What Steph is doing is absolutely ridiculous. But does that make him the favorite for MVP, or do we need him to win more?
Let me start by saying what he is doing is ridiculous, and that there's not another NBA player that can make the shots he makes. Like Dame is close, and Trae Young makes those types of shots, but
Clay,
Steph
when he's healthy, can do some of it too.
But Steph does it on just a different thing, like running 90 like full speed, catching, falling to his right, getting hit, and just splash. And it's like this is almost unfair. And then no one else gets hotter than Curry.
Right.
When he hits 2 threes in a row, everyone be on watch because it might turn into 5 or 6, and the whole game's flipped on its head.
Right.
As for the MVP race, he was out, I think, sadly, a little too long, and the team just isn't slightly good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's in the conversation, but he's just behind Jokic and Embiid. Jokic is the number one right now. I will say that should be Embiid, or it should have been Embiid if he stayed healthy and he didn't miss a stretch of games. So right now, I think it's Jokic, Embiid, and Curry, 1, 2, 3.
I don't hate that. I'm coming around on Jokic a little bit just because
His numbers are ridiculous. It's something like 27, 11, and 7 or something.
they're not playing much different without Jamal. That's why I'm giving him credit, because it kind of forced
their first game, right, without him.
Yeah, it kind of forced him to do the more that I was asking. And they're still the 4th seed, so I think you'd probably have to lean Jokic right now, but it's him or Embiid. You could also lean Embiid, but Philly just fell behind Brooklyn, so I think Philly would have to be the 1 seed for him to get it.
Agreed.
I think we need to stop this. I mean, I get it when it comes to winning, so I guess you could put Giannis there.
I don't want to win another one.
I don't want him to win another one either. I don't think he should have really won. If it weren't for COVID, I don't think he would have won the last one.
Braun would have got it.
But I have no problem with him being up there. I just might have him behind. Portland fell out of the top 6, so.
How is it that Portland gets everybody back and then I start losing more?
I think Chris Paul deserves more credit too.
Yeah, but the numbers ain't going to be there.
But Steve Nash won with 18 and 11 a game, so I don't see why. I mean, look, we're not talking about him winning it realistically.
Yeah.
But I think he should be up there, and I think if we're putting Giannis up there, we should put Kawhi up there because the Clippers are in the exact same situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steph and Dame, obviously. My main thing is just get Luka the fuck out of there. I don't understand how we keep putting him in there. I understand he looks cool. His last name's Doncic. He's from Slovenia. I understand why people like him, but like
cool
you got to do more for me. Like, he's doing a lot. Don't get it fucked up, but to be in that conversation over guys like what Steph's doing, because I think there's a certain level of if you're doing a lot and you're winning barely, it hurts your case to win it, but you deserve to still be in the argument. If you're winning and you're not grabbing headlines for your performance, you deserve to be in it. aka Kawhi and Giannis. Now, if you were underperforming at the beginning of the season, now you're performing pretty good because your team got healthy and you're semi-winning. You should be like 10th. Like, I don't understand how he's in the top 5, but and then Kyrie. Sorry, but the Nets are in first place, and James and KD are the ones that are sitting a lot. Kyrie's not sitting a lot, so Kyrie deserves to be in the conversation.
In the combo, but he doesn't have a realistic chance at it, though.
No, I'd probably have him. You might have an argument with him over Steph and Dame right now for that.
Nah, I ain't putting more Steph.
It's not strong. Maybe not Steph. I'm cool with Steph. All right, so if I said top 5, then I'd probably go Jokic, Embiid, Giannis,
Curry.
Steph, Kyrie, then throw Dame in there.
It's fine.
Because Portland fell out. So if Portland gets their way back into it, get Rudy Gobert out of that conversation too. I saw them list him.
I mean, come on.
Let's just give Quinn Snyder Rookie of the Year and admit without Donovan Mitchell, there's not an MVP on that list.
Donovan Mitchell would be in the discussion.
You'd have an argument to put him ahead of Kyrie. Oh, and Chris Paul too. Chris Paul might be ahead of Dame too. Could be ahead of Kyrie too, actually.
I love what you're saying about how because we know how much he affects winning. It's just like you do need some stats too, though.
True. I mean, the thing I hate, something I read today was
5 and whatever.
Right. I read someone said on Twitter. Now this makes absolutely no sense to me. Please tell me you can make sense of it. James Harden really made us think that Russell Westbrook and CP3 were washed. I don't understand how that correlates at all.
Wait, hold on. James Harden made us think that Russ and CP3 were washed?
Yes.
So what they're saying is that James Harden is so good that it made Russ and CP3 look bad?
I guess so.
That's the only way I'm interpreting that, and that makes absolutely zero sense because his game does not have any effect on the other two.
I guess they're trying to say that his play style affected them, but last time I checked, if Chris Paul played in that Game 7, we all had Houston beating the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And last time I checked, Washington's in the basement with Russ and Bradley Beal. And James Harden was an MVP frontrunner yet again with both Kyrie and KD also being discussed as MVP candidates at some point. So how about this? James is really good at basketball. Chris Paul is really good at basketball. And Russ is really good at basketball, but isn't the easiest to play with, which in turn tends to affect his game in certain moments.
Yeah. I don't know why that they're even mentioned in the same thing. It doesn't matter. So it really doesn't make much sense.
It makes no sense.
Because if you're saying that James Harden is so good that it makes us think CP3 is bad. First of all, I don't know who thinks CP3 is bad.
I think they're talking about before he went to OKC. They thought he was trash. But we were in school as people playing basketball going, there's not 30 players. There's not at least 35 players better than Chris Paul.
And it doesn't make sense when they're on the same team and they're arguably about to make it to the finals.
And they had him at like 50. And then Russ last year, we did preseason rankings. We both had him in our top 25 still, regardless of how he played last year.
And we know Harden is better than them too, but like...
And I'm pretty sure Russ made an All-NBA team last year.
He's averaging a triple-double again, I think.
Of course he is. That's his best attribute.
It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
I do it all, but might not win in the process because
Well,
I'm
it's like,
doing so
I
much.
do it all, and that means I do all good and I do all bad. I just do it all. So
The funny thing is, I don't even blame him. It's like he plays with such energy that it's like, all right, I can literally do everything, but I think it's just it's something with a teammate thing where they think they can do less because Russ is doing everything.
yeah,
I don't think it's Russ's fault. It's just there's not many people that can match that energy.
the Wizards are now playing better.
They are playing better. Hopefully, they can get into the playoffs. Your Hornets are killing it. Oh, is Julius Randle an MVP conversation? I think he should be.
I mean, if you're gonna put, yeah, he has to be, especially
They're like the fourth seed.
this last stretch of games he's been playing the last like week or two, where he's just dropping 40 like whenever he wants.
That's another thing. If our
Are y'all
listeners listen,
gonna lose to the crosstown rivals?
that's not happening. They have no chance against us. That's not happening. To be honest, I'm worried about Miami, and if Milwaukee gets on a roll. Philly, if an Embiid comes in there averaging 50.
Yeah.
But I don't think the other guys will step up. Those are the teams I'm worried about. I think we're underrating Miami a little bit. And if they get that Oladipo thing going, they might have a three-headed monster coming too. But the Knicks, I think they're a good story. Hopefully they can win a playoff series. I don't think they can go up against any of those teams. Boston is praying. Jason Tatum has to do everything recently. Kemba's getting a little better. But losing Daniel Tice was a big deal. For Evan Fournier was.
You think the Knicks could beat the Celtics in a playoff series?
I think it'll be a series, but I think the Celtics would end up winning it.
That would be a good series to watch.
That'd be a very good series to watch. I'd love to see that.
Me too.
But it looks like the Celtics might be in a playing game, so who knows if they get out of there. The Hornets, I think they could sneak somebody.
Terry having a career year, bro.
Shout out to you. You got that one right.
I hit that one, yeah. Thanks, man.
You did. And the funny thing is, it's not because of Gordon Hayward. Where has Gordon Hayward been? Has he been hurt this whole year?
Yeah, no, he got hurt a couple weeks ago, I think, 2 weeks ago.
And LaMelo's been out, so.
Scary
Terry. Devontae Graham picked it up. Miles Bridges looks like really something all of a sudden.
Dunks on everybody.
Yeah, his dunks this year have been fucking crazy.
They're wild.
I think it's time for De'Aaron Fox to ass out of Sacramento.
He needs, and he's playing so good. Like it's said that if people aren't recognizing how good De'Aaron Fox actually is,
he is really fucking good.
Or at will, he can defend like a mofo. He's a beast, dude. It's just like Sacramento's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I think he's got to try to go to New York.
Oh, that'd be sick.
I think him and Randall would be nice.
Oh, that would be spicy out there.
And if you could find a way to keep D Rose in the process,
imagine
I know it's not going to sound good because the kid just showed up, but I'd be willing to give up Emmanuel quickly in a few picks.
Yes, Quickly's a very nice rookie, but
and I think that can give Sacramento a good base too. If you can roll with Emmanuel quickly, maybe you could still save it that you're still a young team. I think Quickly's nice. I do.
Yeah, nice, good. But if you could imagine Fox, Barrett, if you still want to throw Reggie Bullock out there, I guess Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson?
Mitchell Robinson probably, yeah. And then D Rose coming off the bench.
I ain't mad at that.
Oh, wait, Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel's been playing good too. So
shots.
I think that'd be a good one, man. I really do. Then I'd be a little more concerned about the Knicks. Then I think they'd be a little more.
So another star away.
But we got to see. We're still how many games they have left? 10, 12? Still a decent amount of season left.
Thibodeau gonna win Coach of the Year probably.
Thibodeau should him. I'd say him, Quinn Snyder, Monty Williams, Doc, Borrego.
I know he's not going to be, but does Nash deserve some credit?
With managing all the injuries, I think he should. Should get something.
You're giving him shit early on that he wasn't.
What if how about you just give Sean Marks Executive of the Year?
Okay, yeah.
for
I'm fine
putting
with
that together
it. Yeah, there you go.
and not like BS in the hire. So,
Yeah. Give Sean Marks Executive of the Year.
shout out to the Pacers because we told you not to fire Nate McMillan. And then the Hawks got him as an assistant, and they fired Lloyd Pierce and hired Nate McMillan.
They started winning games.
And now they're a top seed too. It's crazy how that works. Like it's almost like the guy that can coach a team without his stars can get you to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Then you fire him because you think this other guy is better, I guess. That's outrageous.
And I'm not even going to say the guy's not a good coach. I haven't paid attention to the Clippers, but I'm going to tell you this. Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, DeMontis Sabonis
No,
should
they're
make the playoffs in the East.
See, they're underperforming.
By far.
Underperforming.
But I think we're good to sign off.
I think so.
It's been a hell of a time coming back, and we're excited to be back. Hopefully, within the next few weeks, we can get a little more consistency again, and sports picks up with off seasons. We'll probably have a draft reaction, a couple of basketball and any other fights, and maybe Tom will let me throw some hockey and start paying attention. The Islanders are top. We dropped to third in the division, but we're separated by 4 points between the top team because we've been on a little losing streak since we made some trades. But
bullshit where you play the same team 7 times in a row.
Yes, people are actually getting tired of that. Surprisingly, when I say surprisingly, I'm not surprised. Yeah. And my big hockey gripe is the Canadian division, which obviously they had no control over. They had to do it. I think the bottom 3 teams, and there's only 7 teams. They have the least amount of teams of any division. 4 teams make the playoffs, the top 4. And the way the playoffs work now is if you win your division, you're in the conference finals. You play the teams in your division. So the Oilers or the Maple Leafs, who have grossly underperformed since the beginning of the season, they're going to get to play a team that was probably supposed to be in the lottery this year. In the first round of the playoffs, and then have to play each other to then go to the conference finals and get their ass whooped. But the Islanders are going to have to play one of 3 other Stanley Cup contenders to get to the right to play another Stanley Cup contender, to then get to the Stanley Cup, to then play, guess what? A team that's in the Stanley Cup.
What the fuck is hockey doing?
They got fucked because Canada didn't want to open because of COVID, so they didn't do that, but
it seems so unfair.
It is unfair to certain teams. If you have a strong division, you're fucked. If you have a weak division, you're living life. You could say you made it to the conference finals.
Oh my god, it's like saying that's like being the let me think about this. That's like being the Charlotte Hornets and you're beating up on who's the worst team in the East?
I'm gonna tell you something.
You're beating up on the Wizards. You're beating up on shitty. Say you're beating up on. I know the Kings are West. But you're beating up on the Kings, the Timberwolves, the Wizards, and then all of a sudden you're in the conference finals.
To be completely honest with you, it's like if you had the Warriors in their heyday, and you had the Lakers with Bron, the Clippers with Kawhi, the Warriors with Steph and KD and everybody. You also had who's another local team? The Jazz, the Suns, all in the same division. But then you had a team. But then in the East, you had the Knicks, the Celtics, the Raptors, the Orlando, and Chicago in a division. Yeah. And they're like, oh wow, the Knicks are really gonna make it to the conference finals.
The Knicks are killing this year. They beat the Bulls 9 times in a row.
Yeah, so it's not the most fair situation, but hockey's working through it, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the Islanders can end up hoisting the cup anyway. But
Go Devils.
We'll see. Yeah, no, y'all suck. You should watch my team. I'm just gonna tell you that.
Those are that bad?
Yeah, bro. They've been eliminated from the playoffs already.
Conference, dude. We got all the big dogs.
Yeah.
You know, we're not out there in Canada playing the fucking Vancouver Canucks every damn day.
That's actually a team that's ass. So I'm very impressed that you did that.
I'm just naming. We're not out there playing the Toronto Maple Leafs every day.
The Maple Leafs are decent. Ottawa Senators would be one.
We're not
They're
out
garbage.
there. How many teams are in Canada?
Calgary Flames.
Calgary? No, they're not.
Yeah,
in
they are.
Canada?
Yeah. There's 7 teams in Canada. I'll tell you.
I thought Calgary was in Ohio.
No, Calgary is not in Ohio. And there's the title of the episode. Is Calgary in Ohio?
I really thought. Oh wow. Okay, real quick before we go, run through the Canada teams. We got. Wait, let me guess first. We got Vancouver Canucks,
Yep.
Toronto Maple Leafs,
Yep.
um,
The one I just said.
Calgary Flames, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ottawa
Ottawa what?
Senators.
All right. We have 4. There's 3 left.
Fuck. Give me the mascot.
That's not going to help you.
Because
the mascots in hockey don't match. You can't have, put it this way, what's an Islander? Her mascot's a dragon.
Oh fuck! All right, give me the city, and I want to see if I can get a name.
Montreal.
Oh, Montreal. Oh my. Oh, Canadians.
Yes.
I should have got that one.
2 more.
Montreal. Quebec. They got a team.
They used to, but they don't anymore.
Quebec got a team these days. I'm just thinking of places in Toronto, or I mean in Canada.
Toronto. Streets in Toronto. Maybe they have a team down the road.
All right, give me another city.
Winnipeg.
Oh, the Winnipeg Jets.
Yes.
And one more.
Last one. The team that's leading the division, I believe. With Connor McHockey.
With Connor McHockey.
One of the rare hockey players you know.
Yeah, and Connor McDavid, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Thought he was on like
a team in the
I know
States.
not the Islanders, but I thought he was on like some
The
New
Penguins.
York. What's the city?
Edmonton.
Ah, the Oilers.
Yes, sir. Edmonton Oilers. There you go.
It was in Canada. No idea.
There's your hockey roundup today. Guessing we can do that. We can do that to end every show from henceforth. We can guess the division.
Pacific Northeast Division.
It's called the East. The Northeast is the Metro right now.
That's okay. That's the Metro. I like that.
Metro. But all right, it's time to go.
Get out of here.
All right. Live, laugh, love. Peace, love, and positivity. As always, appreciate y'all for coming by. We're happy to be back, and we're signing out. Peace.